Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. How are you all doing? Tonight, we're painting Tau. And the reason we're painting Tau is because the planes that I'm working on for our latest commission are in that kind of stage where the only thing I can do on stream would be very repetitive, very monotonous. Much like actually painting them right now as it transpires. But I decided I've got to suffer through that stage of the commission, but you guys don't need to. And so as a result, I spent a couple of hours put together my Tau Commander. Now we're going to get on with it. In the chat so far we got Des, Bobby, Crooked Grin, Hurtus getting his 5-month sub in. Peckish Fox, December Wind, Cell Virus. How you guys doing? So Peckish. Right here I have, some would say, my Ragnar Blackmane model. I mean, I painted it, I paid for it. I think it's mine. And the reason I say that is because I don't know where to send it. So please send me your address. Because without that, it's not happening. So I've done a little bit of work on him already, as you guys can see. Obviously, we've done all the assembly. We've got a Cold Star Commander, because he's got the big aerofoils on his backpack. We've got the obligatory 4 fusion blasters here off to the left-hand side. Now I'm going to paint these guys basically this color and this color. It's gonna look so sick. I can't wait. Genuinely can't wait. We've even got a custom resin base for these guys. We've got some broken Tau cityscape. That's gonna be in the Farsight Enclaves colors. That's gonna be red and white. And these guys are gonna be blue and pink because it's gonna be awesome. So far, I've painted all of the bits that are going to be a base coated blue in blue. So we've left the guns to one side. I've then taken the airbrush and I've just airbrushed in all of the bits that are going to be black to grey. Just airbrush those in black. So quickly whip around with the airbrush. Now the reason we're doing all of that now, we're going to start off by painting those areas. Is because if we get any overspray on here, it'll be carried over and just completely cut in by our highlights. So no issues there, right? But if we were doing this first and then got some overspray on there, unlucky. So it's much easier to do this and then paint the upper layer of all of his armor plates by hand. We're then going to mask off some of these areas. Going to start off with a base coat of purple, move up to pink, and I'm hoping we can get all of the airbrushing on this part of the commander done this evening. As far as the blue is concerned, here's our pretty snazzy looking seal drone. Just a quick highlight of that blue down. Nothing crazy. Let's get right in there so you can see Mr. Beep Boop in all his glory. And we'll obviously cut in here and get some pink on it. You know, we've got these nice little sections on the antenna. That'd be a nice purple up to pink, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going for. But first, like I said, we've got to get the grey done. So we're going to move all of the parts of the Tau Mans that aren't going to have grey on to one side. So that's all of those. We need to make sure that all of these bits are well within easy reach because we don't want to forget anything. Obviously, Commander Mans himself. Oh, and of course, the underside of the drone. We've got a little bit of masking material, blue tack box. That's all you need. Tau Commander? Yes, indeed, Cakefish. Tau Commander. Not doing the foils in his arms? No, I don't like them. So, well, on the arms, there's these 2 tiny dots here, right? And there's a foil that comes down this way. And there's 2 on the legs as well, which go in sort of just in behind the knee, sort of in here. I didn't want to do them because they interfere with the mini a little bit. Let me show you what the inspiration is for this. This is one of, in my opinion, the coolest scenes in any movie ever. Any movie ever. Let's just pop over to here and hopefully not get copyright struck into oblivion. This is obviously an amazing, amazing film, and it's this bit right there. Just that one section of Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, where he lets that flamethrower go. This is fucking epic. If you can just buy that as a picture, I'd have that. I absolutely love that. I think it's one of the coolest things ever. And so because we've got him in that position, having these aerofoils and everything on the arms, having the extra ones on the legs and things like that, didn't really make much sense to me. So, you know, we've left those off. It's not the end of the world. No one's going to have a whinge about, like, WYSIWYG. Oh, you didn't put his little hand fins on. None of that. Smithina like Tau. How dare you? Tau are amazing. Tau suits are amazing. Tau fireworks and stuff. Nah. Right. Let's get the compressor going. Fish, played your first game in months. Did you play 8th or 9th? That's the question. Peckish, is that Techless Blue? No, this is from Fantasy Games to Scale Color range. And this is Geraldine Turquoise, which you totally can't see on the label there. It's really, really nice blue. So, going to be working really, really thin, because we're going to do all of the airbrush passes, basically one coat that we build up over several passes. So we're starting off with some Administratum Grey. Let's zoom out so we've got some working space. And don't forget, guys, we've still got these cool 4 commands going on. Exclamation point win and exclamation point mystery to tell you a little bit more about this month's prizes. You've got, as usual, that £50 hobby giveaway very shortly now. We're less than 2 weeks to go. That's exciting. Got that mystery prize. So far we know there's a Chaos Obliterator. We know that there is the Blood Bowl Minotaur, and then there is the mystery box, which could contain anything. Doesn't contain this Tau Commander, but there's another one on the shelf. Flasherton! How you doing, man? Coming in saying time flies and watching an awesome channel. Who were you watching, man? Is this why you were late? Damien, how you doing, Petters? Blood Angel Nash says, just wondering what's this with everyone getting Tau lately? I've had these Tau for probably about 6-8 months. I just haven't done anything with them. So one of those. And what's your Frozin? Is Frozin painting Tau? Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah. Art. Right, so let's start off on this guy. Obviously, we've got loads of areas where we can apply some highlights here, and we're going to be painting that black-grey. We're going to try very, very hard to avoid any of the blue, so you don't want to get too much overspray on there. We'd have to clean up. So let's start off on the inside leg. Let's just call it that, seeing as we're painting a somewhat spherical shape right now. Let's just start bringing these up. And the reason we've chosen Administratum Grey is because we want to avoid any blue-grey going on. We want the grey here to be a lot less speckly than that. So, let's thin that down even more. Loza! How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Damien, you are absolutely correct. It is a Tau. Did the title of the stream not give that away? There's nothing wrong with Tau suits. Nothing wrong with Tau suits. All other kinds of Tau are clearly heresy, but I love the suits. The suits are awesome. What I should be painting right now is one more Helverin, which I actually need to get painted. However, I need one more Helverin, and it hasn't arrived yet, so, you know. I'm doing great, lots. Thank you very much. I kind of thought you just said, Damien Pedley, how are you sweaty? Well, we all know how he's sweaty. You know. But I love Tau. Honestly, I think the suits are awesome. I think the basic infantry look a bit naff. But the suits are fucking cool. Especially, like, I love the Riptide. The Riptide is an awesome model. They had a horrible reputation for all of 6th edition, past them getting that bullshit formation. Like, I totally understand the hate for Riptides. I've had that hate for Riptides. Fucking Triptide formation, wall of mirrors bullshit, and the firing twice thing. That was absolute nonsense. Utter nonsense. And then when you've got the Taudar right in there at the end of 6th, with people bringing double Triptide wing. No, was it 3 Wraith Knights and a Triptide wing? Like, what the for Jesus? Damien, you can't make jokes like that on Twitch. You get angry. Lossa, getting a sub. Ventress, absolute superstar. Gentleass, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Alright, let me give Lossa her meeps. Oops. Just forgotten how many Zs were in your name. Lossa, you need to spend these meeps, love. You got over 10k now. Over 10k. This is absolutely crazy. So just making sure that all of these little areas have got a point of interest. So basically just giving everything one quick pass and then just allowing the airbrush to linger in one area to give that more of a highlight. Now we don't mind that this is going to be quite bright. As soon as we start washing in on this, it's going to darken down a fair amount. Fish says, I should love Tau. I play lots of robot games and Robotech roleplay, etc. Yeah, absolutely, man. Giant robots. Yeah! Gotta love giant robots. Giant robots are awesome. Like, I'd take the Storm Surge if I wanted to pay about 200 quid for the Mini. Because you've got to buy the Mini and then buy the conversion kit to stop it looking completely dumb. Here's what it is. Gentleass, it basically just comes down to thinning your paint. Like, to get a smooth blend, that's essentially all it is just get everything nice and thin. Glaze everything in, take your time, be patient. That's it. Get this knee done. I'm going to be using a lot of that back and forth action on the trigger. Just making sure only putting down the smallest amount of paint. Now this bit is the bit where we can afford to go wrong. So while obviously we want that absolute control right now, it's going to be even more important soon when we start doing the blue. The reason we're doing it this way around is because if we overspray this on the blue, not the end of the world right now. That's a love. All that is a mix of scale color. I've forgotten what it's called now. Dark blue, Canterbrick blue from scale, and black. That's it. Yeah. How to thin metallics in a good way? You can use water. Like, you've just got to just sort of keep adding it in. As soon as you split the paint, then you've gone too far, obviously. But you can definitely use water to thin metallics, because I do it all the time. And if you're doing true metallic metals, I'm assuming you're just using metallics rather than mixing in like blacks and whites and things to it to change its tone. But if you add in any of those, then you can definitely mix it with water, because that's how you would generally thin those kind of paints to make it into a glaze. So that works really nicely. Just got a little bit of clogging from my airbrush, bear with me. So we're hearing a lot about Custodes being strong right now, but here's the deal, right? Custodes are strong right now because the way to win 9th edition, currently, not that the game's even out yet and we're having a discussion on how to win your games of 9th edition, but I've played three? I've played 3 games now. I've won every game by a significant margin, and I've played some decent players. Nobody that you'll find on like podcasts, but one of my buddies, Nick, ranked #1 Dark Angels player in the world. Last season and this one, I believe. So we've played some decent guys, and the way to win as it stands at the moment is to be crazy durable and to get on those objectives, because the primary mission is worth 45 points. That's half. Let's ignore the 10 points for painting, right? Because whatever, I'm in favor of it. I love to paint, but you know, but the primary mission's 45 points. And if you rack up 45 points in 3 turns, so that's turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4, because you can't score it on turn 1, then you've been in a fairly dominant position throughout the game, and you're likely to win. Now, because Custodes have T5 at a minimum, 2 up armor save, and very frequently 3 up involts, that's quite durable. Then you add in the fact they've all got 3 wounds. Suddenly it's a bit like, hang on, that's tough as. Then you add in how you get a shield captain with a 3 up invulnerable save, toughness 6 because he's on a jet bike, and is apparently a superior creation, so it has a 5 up invulnerable save. And he's okay, a little bit more durable. Then you throw in Victor of the Blood Games, so I have to re-roll one of his saves every turn. Like, hold the phone. This guy's a beast. He's a monster. And indeed, you'd be right. He is a bit of a monster. I'll be sure on camera. So, Custodes can stand and hold the objectives. What they can't do, unless you let them get close, is deal with you in combat. Deal with you from a distance. So, Telemon with the Arachna Storm Cannons, that's pretty good. Things like Caladius are actually pretty good, especially with the Heavy Blaze Cannon, I want to say it is. Because the Arachna's got a bit of a nerf, which was definitely warranted. For those of you that don't remember that, towards middle of 8, that was horrible. People were just taking 3 Caladius because that gun was super cheap and super good. It was basically a strength 8 storm cannon from memory, but with a longer range, and I think even better AP as well. So you know that was super neat. It was not fun at all dealing with that. Is that all of the stuff that's going to be black on this guy? Yep, pretty much. Cool. Let's move through. Let's get the arms done. What compressor do I use? So I use the Iowata Silverjet. It's a tankless compressor, so it runs all the time. But I've had this thing running for like 12 hours straight several times, and it just deals with it so well. We also spray before the usual next question that comes at 45 psi. So absolute max power through that compressor. I want it all. All the power. That power, once you learn to control it, gives you precision, which is super important. I don't have that precision. But yeah, custodes, they're good at dealing with you in combat. They're not so good at dealing with you from a ranged perspective. Don't get me wrong, you know, they've got that Telemon, but what you do is you force them every turn to start burning CP with things like the half damage, because they still currently get half damage strat. You make them burn CP for the you can't reroll anything against my Telemon. And you keep doing stuff like that until they run out. And then, just like everything else, it dies. So they're good right now because they are super durable. People haven't worked out how to play Ninth yet. I think given a couple of months, Custodes will drop off a little in terms of a power level, because people will adjust to must play the mission. So manifest a better one then. Cheers for that. Hey, no worries, dude. You'd have thought that someone called the Dyson has the best compressor, but you know. Does yours just suck? Oh, no. Had to make that joke, man. Had to. You'll have to just forgive me. Or not, and that's totally your option as well. So, we're not going to paint any metallics on these Tau, but we are treating this as kind of an NMM style. Everything will have that kind of, this is a metallic version of something rather than just a flat material like ceramite or plastic or whatever it might be. So we're making sure we've got those super bright areas, plenty of contrast, loads of shadow. That's another reason why we're just going with this very bright grey over black. It's going to give us all of those things. And whilst we're not looking for NMM at all, it'll sort of give us a halfway house to it. I just love the fact he's looking like a transformer. New A Designs. Dude, thank you for that host. Get ready to duck the raid. Oh, here we go. Who we got? We still haven't got a defend command. We need a defend command. But Zen, how you doing, man? Right, on this engine thruster thing, let's get a highlight on. Let's do the top. Just gonna get highlighting along the top edge. That little cowling or whatever you call it there at the bottom. Obviously, we're gonna have a load of crisp edge highlighting today. Art of Mike Disney, hot damn. Hot damn, that's a big old raid. Let's get some hype in the stream for Mike. I think you still there with Sarah? Yeah, there she is. How you guys doing? Mike, you absolute superstar. How is your stream, man? Let's get shout outs and let's get hype for that absolute legend. And Sarah, who was chilling out on stream with him. Who you got coming in? Bellfire Forge, Gun-Toting Elf, Jan, how you doing, brother? Bill Neary, thanks for that follow, dude. Welcome to the stream. Stasius, Juntalas, I know you were here already. Clavicus, that's a cool name. JR Toshkian. Toshkian? Yeah, Toshkian. We'll go with that. Ancient Meeple. Oh, you need the meat command. That's what you need. How you guys doing? Mike, how is your stream, brother? What were you working on? I know you and Sarah are having a chat. New Way Designs getting that following as well. Stasius, doing well, fella. Doing well. How about yourself? We're painting Tau tonight. This is the first Tau that I've painted since I was 20. It's a long time ago. There's at least one person in the stream that wasn't born during that time, so, you know. Damn. But Sarah, how are you as well? What were you doing with Monsieur Disney? Mr. Disney? That'll do. Cattle Red, thanks for that follow. So the reason we're painting Tau today is because the commission I've got at the moment, which is some Aeronautica Imperialis planes, are not quite at the stage where we can get them on stream and do a lot of cool, interesting stuff with them. So as a result, I needed something else to paint. What I really needed was an Armiger to paint, because I need that for my 40k army. But I need the guns. So, hope you don't mind the raid. How could I possibly mind? How could I mind? Some of the coolest cats on Twitch coming in here now. Vrakan! Thank you for that sub, man. I zombie you. Nice. Nice. Cool name. Cool name. So all we're doing with this grey right now is just getting a few little highlights. Now we're going to darken some of this down when we get some washes going on, which will probably be done with oils. But for now, it's just to provide a little bit of a flash highlight to that black area. We're not really going for non-metallic metal, but because we're using something that's super bright against something that's super dark, we're going to get some of that effect coming in anyway. So we're just sort of cheating it in right now. Just get these engines. Dude, I'm absolutely over the moon to see you. How you doing? Love the work? Oh, you flatterer. You flatterer. Slow Buildings. Thanks for that follow, man. This is what we're working on. We've got Tau Commander going on. All of the blue that you see on here is going to end up like that before the end of the stream. I hope. And ideally, not only going to do that, we're going to be getting this out. I'm going to be going for a second color on this Tau as well. So this guy is going to be vibrant. He's going to be in your face. And almost everything I paint, I try and paint in that kind of style because I love it. I want people to go past the table and go, what the fuck is that? And then have to come closer. A kneeling commander. It is a kneeling commander, and here's why. We've just played this clip for all the awesome guys over here. I don't want to get completely screwed from copyright strikes, so here's just the still image of what's going on. This is the inspiration right here for this commander. This. I would buy this as a poster. This is one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. The bit in Iron Man where he's on his knee, fucking flamethrower out. Oh, so good. So good. So that's why we've got this. So he's going to be kneeling. We have got a resin base. This did come from Element Games. This is a Micro Art Studios base. And he's going to be kneeling. One knee is on this little bit of rubble. His foot just about comes to here. I'm going to be doing the color scheme on this base as kind of a Farsight Enclaves color scheme. So red and white. This guy's blue and pink. I want it to look like this guy and his Tau cards ray has just assaulted a Farsight base. These guys are definitely going to be the bad guy Tau. No good guy Tau. It's not for the greater good. It's for the I want your shit. That's what they are. Micro Arts have got some amazing, amazing stuff, but the bases and you pay for the quality. Like, and I'm happy to pay for the quality, but that base is about £6. So, you know, it's up there. But damn, so pretty. So pretty. Have a 5 meter wide printer and image that across your house. The neighbors would not love that at all. But that's cool. I might hit you up for that. I've got a poster. I actually might just hit you up anyway, because I've got a poster I need to be put just here, which is, you'll see it below here with the Scrivo advert. It's me as a Night Crusader. So a commissioned piece of artwork I had drawn for me. So I might need to hit you up. I think I'll print you one on Discord as well. So I'll try and message you at some point. It'll be after the stream, maybe even another day. But we need some quality printing services, man. He's gonna do that. Hey, no. Absolutely not, dude. You won that fair and square, man. So if you don't know what our Print You One is talking about, every month we do at least 2 giveaways. This month currently we'll be at 5. Currently we'll be at 6. And maybe a 7th. Still trying to put a few things together, but there's going to be at least 6. 1 we've already done, 5 more, possibly another one on top of that. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, exclamation point win, exclamation point mystery, but most importantly, exclamation point box, where you could win the entire Indomitus box set. Not just a part of it, not just the book, not just a mini, the whole thing. And exclamation point base, where you'll get some details for the release weekend stream. So on the release weekend, that's the 25th and 26th of the new Indomitus release, we will not only be painting the Space Marine Judicia in ultramarine colors, we will not only be painting the Scorpec Lord in the colors of Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim, which is the coolest thing ever. Not only those 2 things, we will be giving away, we'll actually be raffling off, not giving away. I must be very clear on that. You'll have to buy tickets to the raffle. But the winner will receive either the Judicia or the Scorpec Lord, their choice, and the rest of that faction brand new on sprue. 2nd place gets the other faction. 3rd place is a prize for you. 4th place, there's probably a prize for you as well. We need to find out what kind of base we're doing though. So exclamation point base, go to the link in that survey. So go to the straw poll in that link. Where was there a survey? There isn't a survey. But you'll get to this straw poll where, as you can see, currently the Urban Jungle is winning. We've got right down there, regular jungle, 1 vote. 1, Urban Jungle, 13 votes. So as long as you put concrete in with the trees, everyone loves it. No concrete, no love. That's the way it is, clearly. But go there and vote, because that poll will finish this evening. Because there's very, very strong chance that I'll need to purchase new basing materials, exclamation point tufts. Not like throwing Sarah's name out there again, but you know. And by the way, Sarah, I'm doing great, thank you. I didn't miss your question. Living the dream right now. So there's that going on for release weekend. If you go to the box link, follow the instructions on that Instagram post, you could win the entire Indomitus box. And on top of that, you could win some minis painted by me, both from the Indomitus box and just regularly. Last month, we gave away Ragnar Blackmane Primaris Edition. He got finished up on the last stream. Look at that. I am so happy with this guy and how he turned out. I love that base. Icicles all over the place. Stalagmites, stalactites that hang down and point upwards. Got a frozen lake in the middle there. We've got realistic snow that glitters in the light. And that face, that is a good face. Spent a whole stream doing that. Dot in the eye was a pain in the dick, but the rest of it, absolutely fine. So loads going on. Loads going on. That's kind of why we're painting this Tau dude at the moment, is because we're sort of stuck between a lot of things. Commission, like I said, not quite ready to be at one of the cool stages, so we can get it on stream and show you guys something awesome. I need a set of guns for Halverin before I can start converting one. Got the bodies, still don't have the guns, but we need another Halverin for my competitive 40k list. So that means we're going to convert up a ruined base, scratch build all that, convert the Halverin up because I've got 2 already and I don't want another one in the same sort of pose. Right, these guns, quick segue. I've got 2 of them, and you'll notice that one is this way up and the other one has the little fuel tank thing at the top. The reason behind that is these are the ones that go on his hands, these are the ones that go on his backpack. So we need to do it this way to make sure we've got the highlights and the shadows in the right places. So we'll start with these and then work down. Oh, Fish, yes, you got your Wraith Lord as well. Sorry that took so long, brother, but it's just one of those unfortunate things, I'm afraid. So you see what we did there? We started off with a super light, very diffuse coat of paint. So you got that nice mid-tone grey there. Then we just concentrated our spray along this top line for a little bit, built the brightness, the value of that up a little bit. Now we do the same thing on the tank. So looking for a highlight along the length of this. Then we'll just bring in a little bit more of that up there at the top. Touch more. This is one of the best things about airbrushing. You can just keep making those passes so you get exactly what you want. Now we go back to here. Bring that heat in again. Just get that top line. And like I said, we're not going for non-metallic metal at all, but we're going for that darkest dark to lightest light, all in one colour. Got a Jet J, when you get to the whip, would you mind giving some tough CNC on it? Not quite chef CNC, but tough love. It's not for me, so I want to make it as not shit as possible. It's just been base coated so far. I want to make it as not shit as possible. That's a brilliant line. Well done, dude. That's a good one. We will do our best to give you some helpful, constructive feedback that is not too brutal. Actually, do I want to highlight the inside of this at all? That's flush against his arm at that point, and the arm extends. So let's try this there. So yes, we need to highlight all of this section. Sarah, take it easy. Let me know about that thing we were talking about the other day. Yesterday. Probably yesterday. Or Friday. Fuck. One of the last 2 days we were talking about a thing. Let me know. Do one of them. Conspiratorial wink. I know what I'm talking about. I'm hoping that Sarah knows what I'm talking about. Otherwise, that was weird. You be brutal, Jay. Just not chat. Actually, chat can be brutal, just not Macy. Brilliant. Macy can't take shit. He just base coats minis. That's all he does. Awesome. I'm glad you know what I'm talking about. There we go. On the little canister, we just hit up there towards the top a little bit more. And then we've got these nice grayscale guns going on. Same over here. So once again, your nice diffuse spray. Just start building the fact that there is a grey that's coming up into it. And this is one of the best things about the airbrush. We're just using one colour to highlight everything with at the moment. We just build that up. Keep bringing in passes. Keep building that opacity. That gets to where we want. Now let it dry for a sec while we just work a little bit on this tank. And it's a flame tank, but I know it isn't. Touch of overspray there. So we're going to dry that down with the brush. Just using air. And slowly build in that next layer. Using that rocking trigger motion just to allow us to have a bit more control and getting right up close. Just get another couple in on the top of that tank. I'm going to keep calling them flame tanks. It's going to annoy me, probably annoy you. Apologies. Anybody else get that? You get something in your head and then that's it, it's in there. Ain't no coming back from it, it's just in there. Cakefish, good. I'm glad you got some brushes. Let me know how you get on with them. I've not used the Raphael ones before, but I know a lot of people that have, and they tell me that they're good and they like them. So hopefully you get a good result. I'm just going to get a couple of little horizontals in here as well. I forgot to do this one, so I should come back over and hit that. Voodoo Yaz, how you doing, man? I'm doing great. How about yourself? What's just got the front to do and the back to do. Just get on this side there. So very diffuse coat to begin with. And then amp up the intensity on that one face. A little highlight on that tank. Didn't call it a flame tank this time. We're learning somehow. We get the top of these faces as well, and then same on the back, just hit the top. I've got a bit away from me, so again we just dry this down. In fact, let's do the shortcut route to dry it down. That's the heat gun on the heat gun. The Dyson, though, this is Administratum Grey. It looks a little bit white on camera, I'll admit, but it is grey. And once it dries down fully, you'll notice that it's nowhere near as bright as this, he says, showing that it still looks as bright as that. But that's just the camera. But it will matte down a substantial amount. And certainly once we've got some washes on there, we're probably going to use oil washing techniques on these. They really, really will darken down. December Win, continue that gift sub. Dude, you legend. Commissar Bob, how's it going? So I'm just looking forward to getting that bright blue down. And then I'm really looking forward to getting our hot pinks on. It's going to look so cool. So cool. I love super bright colours on minis, and Tau are an amazing canvas for that. A lot of armies really lend themselves to that sort of grimdark painting style that everyone's seen. And to me, a lot of the time, not all of the time, this is a generalisation, you know, but a lot of the time, you'll see people saying, oh yeah, I'm doing a grimdark version of, and what they really mean is, can't be asked to tidy within the lines, so I'm just going to slap a dark wash in it and call it grimdark. And that's a frequent thing. Oh, I've gone really grimdark style. No, you've just thrown some Nuln oil on your yellow because your yellow looks shit, and no, you can't call it that. It's like the word rustic in cooking. Chef, I can't be asked to strain the soup. Rustic vegetable soup. Everyone's had that kind of experience before. And if you haven't, then congratulations, you've managed to duck that. Do you varnish your models once finished? I've never done it before, I've noticed a few charcoal. Yes, absolutely, I varnish everything, mate, and sometimes several times during the painting process as well. So if we do decide to do oils with these, which we almost certainly will, we're going to gloss varnish everything, and that's going to help protect the airbrush paint that we've laid down, which is super, super thin. Like, this is mostly flow and proof, but we're working 2-to-1 flow and proof with the paint, which means that this is the thinnest paint you'll ever put on a Mini, like guaranteed. We call that low tabletop. Nice, nice. Rustic Admech. But yeah, we'll gloss varnish these. Then once everything's done, we'll matte varnish them as well. And sometimes if it's a Mini that I know I'm going to be transporting a lot, so these may very well be a tournament army. When it's finished, not only will I gloss varnish it again to give it a nice strong protective coat, I'll probably give it 2 coats of matte varnish. And that really seals that in. It's not bulletproof by any means, but you'd be hard pressed to do a lot of injury to it just through regular play. If you do, it's because you're obviously being a little bit too rough with your Minis at that point, but you know. Zach Cascoon stuff is pretty good. His Tau, Grimdark Tau, I do like them. It's just I wouldn't paint Tau that way myself. I think Tau, and this is the point of what we were getting onto, Tau are one of those armies that absolutely lend themselves to crazy fucking bright color schemes. So I like to paint in what I call a comic book style. And I don't mean we put black lines around everything, and I don't have a penciler and an inker, tracer, and all those things, but when I was growing up, comic books were a big part of my life. And to a degree, they still are now, but in a very indirect way. They're more as reference material than as something I sit down and read, but mostly because I don't have time to sit and read comic books. Nor really the money, because once you get into 40k, that's expensive. Comic books, that's expensive. I mean, damn, that's expensive. But yeah, I grew up reading comic books as a child, as a teenager, as a very young adult. Comic books were my bag. I'd be so happy just sat there reading comic books all afternoon. And the art style that you find in like Marvel comic books especially really, really speaks to me. King Screw will draw your own comic book. I know, John. He did the artwork that I need to get put on a poster, which our print you one is very possibly going to help me out with. Because I want that picture to be right here in the background. We'll even adjust that cam to try and get more of that in shot. So I'm really hoping that we can sort it out. But yeah, comic books with their ultra bright colours and very eye-catchy sort of ways of doing things really influenced me in my art style, and that's how I like to paint. Even something like a basic ultramarine, that blue will be blue, and you will know that there is blue. And then the red will be red! And I absolutely love that kind of thing. So for Tau, where you've got an amazing canvas to do that with, why not fucking go for it? However, equally, why do the same thing that everybody else is doing? And so therefore, if you want to paint your Tau in a Grimdark style, because they're different to everyone else's Tau, knock yourself out, man. But here's an army I know I can guarantee get away with blue and pink on. What's my favourite army? My favourite army is Imperial Knights. There you go. That's me as a Crusader. That proves my love for Imperial Knights and John Scribo all in one, which was excellently timed. I haven't tried the Vallejo mecha stuff yet, so that's their metal. Oh wait, no, it's not their metal stuff. Is it metals? I mean, that's definitely a no, I haven't tried it. But now I'm confused as to what their mecha range is. I've used their mecha undercoat a couple of times because it's a really nice glossy black undercoat. It's great for putting down metallics over. In fact, on this freaky looking dude, our Necron style Necron, that's what we used for his undercoat. This is great for that kind of thing. Right, here's where we're going to start being a little bit more careful. So now we've got all that bright blue, now I'm going to spray grey. We're just going to do the bottom though. And what we're going to do is essentially, and you can't really call it this, but I'm going to call it this because it's a somewhat bullshit thing. Basically a dry brush with an airbrush. Haha, you can't, I know, you know, we all know, but the effect is kind of the same. Did you see my message about the gift subs? No. No, I didn't. When people continue gift subs to bots and doing animations, are people getting meeps? Same having in the Thursday stream. It should do. Let me try checking December wins. God, have I spelled his name wrong? Oh, there's an extra E in there. Did I spell that wrong with a C? No, it doesn't. Okay, guys, if you continue a gift sub, I guarantee you the person that gave you that sub gets meeps and you don't. So check your meeps, and if you don't think it's right, and you've been gifted a sub rather than paid for your own sub, let me know, and I'll fix it. Right, what I mean by dry brushing with an airbrush is this. We're basically just sort of flicking the airbrush past the Mini very quickly, where we can only really start to apply any paint to the more prominent parts of the Mini. So in a way that a dry brush will just catch the ridges, that's basically all this has got time to do. Now it's obviously not a dry brush, but if you look at that, if you dry brush that, you'd get basically the same effect, just chalky. We haven't done that. We've got the right effect, but it's much, much smoother. Do it again on this bit. So you're not really giving it any time to settle on the Mini. You're just hitting those edges. Sort of dry brushing, sort of not. Plasma Decimator is going to be a hell of a project. Nah, it'll be fine. Absolutely fine. Right, is that all of the grey we need to do? Yes, but what I will do is pre-shade this base a little bit, and then we'll get on with the blue. So all of this is going to be red, and because we want our red to be super, super bright, we're probably going to work up from a mix of black red into straight up Kador red from P3, which has pretty much replaced Evil Sun's red for me now. I'm super, super happy with that colour. But we're going to be doing this little Zenithor, and we're using grey, not white, but it doesn't matter because it's a lot brighter than the black was, let's be fair. And the only reason we're going to be doing this is because we're going to get a much, much brighter red once we apply it over this. If it went straight in over that black. Grey is pretty close to white, so this will work no issue. Cover up some of that with my finger. Just going to hit that edge nice and sharp. Some of these edges, re-establish that again. So we're looking for the darker area to be in the middle, mostly because that's where our Tau Commander is kneeling. He's got one knee there, his other foot comes down just about by this battle damage. So he should cast his own shadow a little bit. But it's also mostly just to give an outline to these panels on the ground. Look, dry brushing has its place, and that is in the bin. No dry brushing. What did we dry brush recently? We did dry brush something. It wasn't on Ragnar's. I was gonna show you how to dry. Oh, that was it. We did a quick dry brush on Ragnar's base that I knew was gonna cover up with an airbrush. Tabletop Minions. I love to dry brush most of the makeup brushes. I do it all the time. If you are Atom Smasher, you are absolutely one of my favorite people ever on YouTube. I love your stuff. If you're a mere impersonator, please pass that on to him. Dry brushing is not something that I like to do because I don't like the finish it leaves on a mini. Using it is you, Pachow. You're a legend. Ah, oh, for the Khan, giving Tabletop Minions that sub. He thinks you're a legend too. But yeah, even with a makeup brush and even with like a moistening pad and stuff like that, I've never really liked the effect that you get. And that's just a subjective personal thing. I'm not saying that people should never dry brush, but what I frequently tell people, and I feel I'm correct in saying this, is that you shouldn't just dry brush. You should definitely sort of put yourself out there a little bit and try new techniques and new styles and new ways. I show everyone how to paint the way I like to paint. My comic book-esque style. But I've stolen techniques from people before now. I've never passed them off as my own. I always tell people, you know, go and watch so-and-so for more about this. But you should definitely look around and see what other people are doing. Be influenced by their art and go from there. Tabletop Minions. Commissar Bob, go on YouTube, Tabletop Minions. You will not regret that, ever. So now, we're going with our blue. This is Geraldine Turquoise from Fantasy and Games range of Scale Color. This is a severely in-your-face blue. Oh, dude, thank you for that follow. Dry brush does get stuff on the table quickly. Yeah, 100%. It's a very fast way to get stuff done. Especially for people that don't necessarily want the hassle or the upfront cost of an airbrush. But I got this mini done for a painting class. I had a student who is a YouTuber who I won't disclose his name. Or her name, their name. Fuck, it's a he. It's clearly a he now. Too late with that. Too late. But painted this mini in 45 minutes. There's highlights, there's airbrushing. The glow is a little bit much, admittedly, but we were rushing at that point to try and get it within the 45 minutes. So you don't always need to dry brush. However, having an airbrush does make that a very, very easy way, once you've got your head around it a little bit, to get minis on the table in a quick fashion. But there is that definite upfront. You're buying an airbrush, you're buying a compressor, you're buying some cleaning materials, you're buying something to airbrush on, you're probably buying some protection, which I urge everyone to wear. I wear it, just not when I'm on stream. You've got all of these things that you need to consider when buying an airbrush, whereas with a dry brush, you can go to a makeup store or like a we sell everything kind of shampoo, shower gel, Johnny's, whatever store, and just buy some cheaply. Or you can spend quite a lot of money on a famous art studio's product that's allegedly as good. If it's as good, why pay 4 times the amount? You know. So now I'm going to put the blue on. We're starting with an easy bit. This is one of the 2 backpack thruster things for this Tau Commander. We're going to start getting some highlights down on this. Now, a lot of these areas are going to end up purple, and we don't know what they are yet. I haven't planned out all of the bits of purple, for instance, that are going to go on the mini. So we're just going to airbrush everything blue. We want to make sure we've got that contrast. We don't want there to be just this one color. We want the darkest blue going to what is definitely the lightest blue, especially when you put these two together. Damn, there's a difference. So let's go. Let's start with the airfoils at the back. Now we want these to be pretty striking, and so therefore we're going to start feathering in this blue. Now we're trying to stop around here so we can get a break in between the 2 panels if we want it. And this is a case of slowly, just going quite light. Don't want to get any paint pooling, so we'll just leave that to cure a little bit while we move to another area of the model. So let's do the top part here. Now the reason we've just done that and moved away from it is I airbrush using a lot of pressure through the airbrush, set to maximum, which means that if I leave it to charge up the hose and get the hose to its absolute, like, fully pressurized state, we're at 45 psi on that first trigger pull. And there's a reason for that, which is that it gives you control. However, what it also gives you, if you're not careful, is spider webbing. And spider webbing is this. So if we airbrush the back of my hand, so just gently applying some paint. We've got a little bit of blue, got a little bit of blue, a little bit of blue. We'll move it around a little bit, but we've mostly got blue. It looks fairly under control, but if you go a little bit too hard on the paint and leave your airbrush in place, oh no, what's going on? It's all gone wrong. No. And then you'll end up with like these spider web kind of patterns, which look, unfortunately, cack when they're on a model that you're trying to get nice, smooth, flat surfaces on. So, put down some paint, leave that for a sec, go back, do another pass. And that's the reason why we're doing everything with one highlight pass on these guys. Sorry, one highlight color. Go from the darkest to the brightest in one jump. Normally we do 2 or 3, but I'll try this way out. So we're going twice as thin as we normally would. 2-to-1 flow improver, 2 paint for all of our highlight steps. But I'm hoping it means we can get some very gradual highlights in using just that one color. So now you can see that blue starting to light up a lot. This is great. It's exactly what we're after. So you need to airbrush with the smallest possible amount of paint being allowed out at any one time when doing something like this, because otherwise you will get this happening. And my hand is still cold as from that. So you've got to do that. You've got to be careful with that amount of paint, but you can use all the pressure. Now I'm going to leave this section for a minute because I want to retain this dark shadow here, but I want to airbrush the top of this. I'm going to show you how to mask that in a sec. We'll just do this bit for now. So you come in here, get some of the top end of that, and then move away from that before we start adding too much paint that it starts to have this issue. Commissar Bob says, as soon as my hobby room is finished, I need to get an airbrush. I would recommend these to anyone that has the space. So I have a studio. I'm lucky. I get that. I say lucky. When we moved in here, me and my housemate, I made certain there was space for me to have a studio setup. So it's a tiled floor, so if I spill some of this, doesn't matter. It's a large, open, airy room. There's 2 doors there, patio doors with ventilation, which are open whenever I'm airbrushing, even in the winter, though. Sometimes open like that much. But it means that I've got a space. You don't necessarily want to be airbrushing. Let's say your hobby room is next to the bedroom when your missus is trying to sleep. She's not going to appreciate that. And then, as with all unhappy wives, you're not going to appreciate that. So, you know, there are considerations to an airbrush. But if you've got the income, the disposable income, to be able to buy one, I strongly suggest that you do. Because this was one of those hobby products that I looked at and went, why the fuck was I not doing this 20 years ago? Why am I only just now discovering Airbrush? It is such a game changer. You can prime in the winter without having to do special things to airbrush cans, like warm them up in a bath of water and whisper sweet nothings to them and sacrifice a goat to the gods of the randomness of a spray can. Don't have to do any of that anymore. Don't have to go outside to spray, so you can spray when it's raining. And that's just priming. Like, if just priming it makes that much of a difference to your hobby lifestyle. It's crazy. Crazy. Of course, if you are going to airbrush, I also don't recommend the Citadel paint handle. I recommend buying enough shot glasses that everyone that comes to your house thinks you have a drinking problem. And blue tack. So now we're going to start getting in the highlights on this area. Now notice how much I'm twisting the Mini away from me, right? When you're airbrushing, you are firing a cone of air directly at the Mini. Stay hydrated. Thank you, brother, looking out for me. Now, if we put this sideways on and we fired air here, it's going to hit everything in this kind of area. So from the top down, that's going to hit this bit, it's going to hit this bit. We want it to keep a nice darker blue, but it's going to basically splodge all of that area. But if we just tilt everything like this and then spray from here, it can only hit this section and this section. And if you need to mask something, and I'll show you in a second when we get onto here how to do that very quickly, very easily, very efficiently. Airbrushes help speed everything up. Why slow it all down? We can still work quickly whilst getting the areas we want. But you can make sure you're edge highlighting essentially with that airbrush. So tilt the model, change your position if you need to. Use a lot of air so you've got the tightest possible cone of paint. And you're away. So now we're getting that edge highlight on this section. Now, you can just obviously cover part up with your finger. It's one of the reasons I wear gloves. I hate getting paint on my hands, but you could just do that and then fire in. Make sure that if there is paint on your gloves, which there frequently will be, that it's dry. Even if you've got to do some of that, make sure the paint on the Mini is dry as well, otherwise you'll scuff that paint. But now I want to highlight these areas. And here's where blue tack comes in handy. And no, I don't mean the thing, I just mean part of the packet. Because we can just do this and cover that area up without having to mess around with masking tape and so on. It's trying to grip this though. Tiny area to hold. So we'll do that. I will spray there and highlight that bit. Carefully remove, and voila, which is French for, and then I found out. Name that film, people. Name that film. Let's do the other side. I use post-it notes for airbrush masking on any straight line. That'll do. That'll do. Anything, you can use anything you like. That's the point that I think is being made here from the pair of us. As long as it's got a straight line, you're good. You can use a piece of newspaper, you can use an envelope, you can use a post-it note, as Adam said. You can do whatever you like to ensure that you're getting the right highlights. You don't always need to get a load of tape out. It wasn't The Rock. It was not The Rock. Although, excellent film. It is one of my favourite films. It's a modern film, like as in released in the last several years. Also, handy to have one of these little travel hairdryers because you can make sure your paint is pretty dry before moving on to the next section. It's going to be very important when you're doing this kind of thing so that you can put your mask down on top of an area of dry paint then. Vindy Titan, thank you very much for that follow and welcome to the stream, man. Boom. Take that away. Voila. Anyone? Ready Player One, Crown Blade, well done, dude. Love that film. For me, that's one of those proper feel-good films that I just need something on to chill out, relax to. That's a good film for that. Just going to cover this area with my finger because we just need to get a quick highlight in on and around that area there without getting too much on our engines. We can glaze out any mistaken airbrush overspray. We're not too worried about that at all. That's why we did that area first. And coming in now on top of it, around it, and so on to hit these highlights. Grey is very, very forgiving, very easy to correct mistakes with. Whereas this super vivid bright blue, much harder. Much harder. Right, how much of this do you actually see? All of this side, I think. So, let's get some highlights in here, up and around this vent. Like that. Let's do some of whatever this random oblong is. Let's do some of these bits. And all we're doing now is we're trying to find areas where we can start adding a bit of that contrast, get those highlights going on, give our maximum darkest shade next to our maximum lightest shade. Even these little bits, like so, and that's just going to be further down the edge. So basically we're just cheating a load of contrast in. That's it. Going to get a little bit more bright, especially down and around here, I think. But that's looking cool. Let's do this side. Oh, let's do the top. We forgot the top. So we need to get up in here. And then up in here. And obviously anywhere where the light wouldn't hit, we're not that fussed about, because it also means that if the light's not going to hit it, really neither is your viewer's vision line, so they're not going to see very much of those kind of areas anyway. But there's nothing stopping you from putting a highlight somewhere that there wouldn't actually be a highlight. We talk a lot when we're doing edge highlights, especially brushed on edge highlights, about two kinds of highlights. One is the common sense highlight where, for instance here, it's at the top, it's at the front. There would be a highlight, there'd be nothing that obstructs light from getting to that surface. Therefore, it makes sense that there is a highlight there. But then we talk about rule of cool highlights. where it makes no actual sense to have a highlight there. It just doesn't. That's the bottom of something. Or have we got anything here that would have a rule of cool highlight? It could be if we did like the underside of one of these two panels instead of the top side, for instance. That would be a rule of cool highlight. On the little rocket thruster, there's actually no reason why there'd be a highlight at the top of this. But if we don't do it, there's not enough differentiation between here and here, and therefore kind of got to get it in there. So those are rule of cool highlights because they look cool. And sometimes the rule of cool is what you need to listen to. I don't make the rules. And the rule of cool answers to nobody. It's just one of those things you've got to do. So you can add in as much contrast, especially on a surface like this, as you like. As many highlights as you like, as long as it looks cool. Let's put the engine down. Let's grab a few bits that are really easy to do, rattle them out of the way, and then we'll work on this bad boy. We are at 10:15, so we've got loads of time. And while we may not get the pink done tonight, we could definitely get the base done tonight. So, shoulder pad. This is going on an arm that is positioned sideways on, so it's going to be like that. So this is the top section of it. Obviously, that moves down to the bottom. So this area here is going to need a highlight. Now, question is, do we want to put the highlight from this line towards the inside or from the inside towards the outside? Your gut would say from the inside towards the outside, but this is where that rule of cool may come in. If we flip the shoulder pad around this way, this bit we definitely want to have the highlight going up this section, right? So if we do that, we've got the brightest area along the top here, the darkest area there, and then here we'd probably do the same thing, have the brightest area there, which means we then have to sort of almost follow that pattern. Now, we could instead make this section, let me grab a toothpick because it could be easier to show you guys. This section along here, this could have a rule of cool highlight, where we could put the highlight at the bottom of it. So this builds up in brightness from a dark point here to a bright point there, and this does the inverse, dark point at the top, light point at the bottom. So we can then put the highlight here on that section. You can see another giveaway prize, but you've already seen it. We'll do that in a second. Let's highlight this up and I'll show you what I mean. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do highlights from the dark point to the light point here. Flip it round to go from dark to light there and then dark to light there. Got fresh banana bread, a glass of bourbon, J Teachings and Tau, a good Sunday. Thank you very much, brother. Enjoy that bourbon. What are you drinking? So we're going to angle the mini away from us so we can get that top section. And just that top section. And start from a very far away position with the airbrush. Very diffuse light spray. And then we start focusing it in just to hit that one line towards the front. Boom. So now we've got shadow up to the highlight, and you can see how that highlight only goes to the very edge of that shoulder pad. Yeah, it doesn't go past that. Bam. It is the box there. Well done. Well done. I thought you'd get there by yourself. So this is the week where we normally unveil the mystery prize, or at least I'd show you the box that it's in. Except last month, the mystery prize was not selected as our giveaway. Last month, ooh, good bourbon. Last month, one of the minis that you guys knew about was chosen, and it was Ragnar Blackbane. Super Beast Mode Primaris Man. This is painted up and is ready to be shipped to Peckish Fox. And if you want to know how we did this, exclamation point YouTube. Go there and you'll be able to watch almost every brushstroke of this guy, especially how he did this killer base. It's 6 episodes. It's about 18 hours of footage, so you know it's a long haul, but that's still not bad for how to paint this guy in detail. One stream was about the face, one was about the base, and the other 4 were the rest of the armor. Things like how to do the doggo, how to do the cloak, how to airbrush in a very precise way. So that was last month's giveaway. This month, one lucky winner will have the choice of this Blood Bowl Minotaur, which is one of my favourite minis for Blood Bowl, and for a lot of games. I just love this guy. There's so much interesting texture that you can do on this. It's super cool. So he's up for grabs. You could win a Chaos Obliterator, painted in the Legion or colour scheme of your choice, or you could win what's in the mystery box. Ooh. There is a mini in here. It fits within the box. The box is large, but not as big as my head, which I've been told is very big on occasion. Could be anything in this box. Could be limited edition Space Marine miniatures. Could be limited edition Conquest miniatures. Could be Warcry minis. Could be Underworlds minis. Could be Necromunda minis. Could be 40k minis. Could be a bit of scenery. Could be a single Ripper. Not Swarm. One. It could be a Gene Stealer. Not a Broodlord. Nothing good. Just a Gene Stealer. Sayek! Getting into that sub. Thank you very much, dude. So the mystery box is definitely a gamble. That's what makes it fun, though, right? Now I'm going to do this one. Like I said, darkest point here, brightest point there. In fact, I'm just going to cheekily add in a little bit more of a highlight to that. There we are. So now do this one. So now we need to tilt this far enough away that we're not going to get that. Now we could cheat, get a hairdryer, dry that down, take our mask and pop that here. But if we did, we run the risk of sort of superimposing some of that straight line on there. We don't want to do. So we're going to work very close. We're going to work with the smallest amount of paint. But we're going to work with the absolute maximum amount of air. Because we want to be precise. We want that cone of paint to be as tight as it can possibly be. Just want to hit that edge. And once we've got the edge, we start feathering that back a little bit to bring that highlight up the shoulder pad. So if we look at it from this side on now, and it's a little tricky because there's a lot of blue going on, but there we are. You'll see we've got quite a dark line there. We could probably do it just bringing that blue up just a little bit more. So, we go back to this. Maximum air. Tiny amount of paint. Feather that line out just a touch more. And then we'll just brighten up the very edge a little extra. Now we're talking. Look at that dark line, much smaller now. So that's not the way you would normally do that highlight. That highlight would normally go from here upwards and would meet there, but I want that to be the brightest point along with this section here. And that's that rule of cool highlight we were just talking about. So let's flip it this way, and now we start working on this highlight. So now I'm going to come in from this angle because we don't want to hit any of those areas. This we're not fussed about, this little Tau shoulder icon thing, because we're going to paint that a different color anyway. So again, tilt the mini, make sure we're just hitting the areas we want to. And this time we work the other way around. So we start to feather the colour in. And then we look to get that nice bright finish on the top of that shoulder pad. Because we've got plenty of room and we need that smooth blend. Whereas here, it was mostly about contrast to begin with, then getting to that smooth blend. This one, other way around. We've got loads of room. That blend has to be super smooth. We could definitely do with a bit more brightness. So we'll come in for a second pass, just aimed in at the top section there. Get that to be the brightest possible blue that blue could have on it. These bottom ones do the same thing. So we tilt away. And because this one is in shadow, we're just looking for that edge highlight this time. So we're not looking for as much of a transition. Just looking for that cool blue, and then hit it again. Once again, aiming at the edge. Just to get that. New Kona! Thank you for that follow. So there we go. We have one cool blue Tau shoulder pad. Let's zoom that right in. Hopefully you can see the transitions a little better. No, you really can't. But I promise you, this bit right here, nice and dark. Chris Frozin! Oh, dude, all the coolest people are raiding tonight. How you doing, man? How is your stream? I so nearly didn't raid you because you're playing Tau. What is everyone's issue with Tau? Look, I get it. When you get to a table and your opponent has an army that makes the noise beep and or boop, and that is all they do, apart from maybe serve you a nice salad as they float around a dining hall, you know. I get it. I understand the rage and the pain and everything that goes alongside that. I genuinely do. But this is just paint. It's just paint, dude. Necrons don't go beep or boop. No, they go like, does not compute. Danger, Will Robinson. That's what Necrons do. You and I both know that. You did Tau? Cool. I like Tau. I love Tau suits. I love mechs. Hi to everyone that came in from Frozin's stream. I hope you had fun. But the reason that we are painting this commander is because the commission I'm on at the moment is not yet at the stage where you can just get it on air and do some cool shit with it. So we're going to do Tau until we get to that stage. But we are making our commander, who's in this kneeling pose, with quad fusion, because that's useful in the game. And it's inspired by the coolest scene, as far as I'm concerned, in almost movie history. This right here. I fucking love this. This is absolutely sick. This one snapshot image of Iron Man with the flamethrower right down on one knee is amazing, and I adore this. And this is what this Tau Commander is based on. R2D2 Tau drones. Yeah, right. That is correct, mate. 15 points now for shield drone. So there's gonna be a lot less obnoxious shield drones out. I'm okay with this. I'm still waiting for him to FAQ it so that in 9th, when you have to... when you allocate a wound, for the rest of the shooting phase, you allocate wounds the same way. I'm still waiting for him to go, yeah, of course that applies to Sabre protocols. Why wouldn't it? So as soon as you put one wound on either your Sabre protocols or your broadside or your riptide or your commander or whatever it is, the rest of them are going that way. But it does say model in there, so you know that they're saved from that. But I could see that happening. I could see that being a thing. Right, there we go. So we're starting to build that blue. Just going to cover the hand up a little bit. Can't grab this because of gloves. So we just cover that. Huh. I need 3 hands. Tau Commander, you make me wish I had 3 hands. That's paraphrasing, but name that film. Boom, nice straight edge on there. Put it in Discord for you. Remember this combo when you get to nice. Jay just found a disturbing story of a painter who drew out the... No. 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 No, no. No, no, no. No. Well done. You guys got the film right. The nose are directed to Smithy because... no. There are some strange people in this hobby. This hobby attracts a lot of unique folk, some of which should be removed from the gene pool and not even allowed in with like armbands in the shallow end or anything. That's one of them right there. That's one of them. Why would you even? I bet he lives up the hill with his mum and his sister. And I know a few people here will understand that one. Hey Cold, how you doing, man? Yeah, will be good until one dies. Yeah, so as soon as you take one on a drone, I think that counts as the allocation, but it's per drone. And when that one dies, then you've got the option again. But I also think now that in this edition, the attacking player chooses the order you take your saves in, right? Does anyone know enough about Ninth yet to know if that's true or not? Because that came up in a Tabletop Titans battle report I watched earlier on today while I was painting. And it seems like the player that's shooting the gun at you now gets to choose how you take your saves. So you fire a las cannon, he goes, alright, I pass it off to a drone. You pass it off to a drone, the drone survives. Okay. Now the other weapon that doesn't do whatever damage, that fires. Not sure why I'm painting this, because the shoulder pad's going to go on it, but let's just do it in case we end up with some of this that's exposed. So I'm just going to rapid fire through this. Like, you guys have kind of seen the basic premise of what we're doing. So now let's get through all these little bits so we can do the commander body itself, because that's the main aspect. Stick your allocation for every shot. But it's if that's so that is correct, you're right. But the scenario is you shoot at something with multiple weapons that's Tau, obviously. The first thing that you shoot at them, they choose to pass it across to a shield drone. And then that goes over there. But it's done on a model by model basis, the allocation. And so if you do that, and then you shoot a weapon that's weaker to try and kill the drone, because fuck the drone, you really want the other, whatever big weapon you've got to shoot the riptide, the broadside, whatever it might be. That's still possible, right? And I think they have to put everything onto that shield drone until that dies before they get the freedom of choice again. So you could then make the drones take the Savior Protocols rolls and those mortal wounds against the chaff shots in between firing the big guns. And as soon as that drone dies, then you switch over to, say, your thermal cannon, your battle cannon, if you've got sponsons you could have fired first, all that kind of stuff. I think that's legit. Weapons at the same time do have to be fired together. Yes, they do, Des, but I'm thinking now about, say you've got a Lehman Russ, you've got a battle cannon, you've got your las cannons, and you've got 2 plasma sponsons. So you fire the plasma, you go save your protocols because you've overcharged. Cool. But I've got this heavy stubber up on the roof, so I'm going to fire that now and try and kill that drone. So I think there's room in there for that to be a play depending on what you've got. Like with the knight. Let's say we fire, I don't know, heavy flamer. Goes through, he chooses not to take it on his Riptide, because as soon as he does, his Riptide's taking all the wounds. You know. Yeah, I think so, Chris. It makes sense to me that you can, but I've also got an argument that is proving to be slightly unpopular. Mostly I feel because rules as written I'm right, but rules as intended I'm wrong. And I know rules as intended I am wrong. And you'll need the rulebook in front of you for this one. So if you're watching this back on YouTube, then, you know, go and pause this, go and grab the rulebook now. Charges. If you declare multiple charges, the rules say that your charge is not successful unless, and this is pretty much word for word, your charge is not successful and therefore you do not move unless you roll high enough to be able to reach every unit you declare to charge against, staying in coherency. You must be in engagement range and coherency. That's it, right? Now, the rule says you must be able to. You must roll high enough to be able to. The rule doesn't say at all that you have to. It says that you have to roll high enough to be able to, otherwise you can't move. But it doesn't say that you have to end your charge move in engagement range of every enemy unit that you declare charge against. Now, most of the time that won't come up. There's a few situations where it will, and those situations are key enough, I think, that it's worth exploring a little bit. If you have, say for instance, a character model that wants to make a charge, and he wants to charge against 2 units, so he can kill one, consolidate into the other one, fight twice, kill that one. He's there. 1 unit's here. 1 unit's here. Let's say, for argument's sake, that is 4 inches. So he charges, declares against both. If you have to make have to make engagement range with every unit you charge against, he'd never be able to declare both. He'd never be able to do that. But ideally, he should be able to do that because he's rolled high enough to be able to kill that, consolidate, fight twice, kill that. The other thing is this. There's my opponent's minis. They are just within coherency range, right? Let's move everything this way down and let's zoom this out. Here's my opponent's warlord. Let's move them right up here. I want to charge your warlord with my space wolf, like Ragnar. Ragnar's here, your warlord's there. I want to charge that. We've got to go through these. And let's say that extends all the way out to the sides to infinity. Well, my base fits through there, so I can engage your warlord. But to be able to make that charge, I have to pass within engagement range of these guys, which I can't do unless it declares them a target of a charge. So let's say I do that, declare these guys and him. Well, now I run through those to get to your warlord. But to do so, I'm now out of engagement range of these. So does that mean that this would be an illegal charge and I wouldn't move? And I couldn't declare a charge against the enemy character because he's managed to screen it with these. Saik, you've absolutely 100% quoted the rule, which is good. Thank you for putting that in there. But notice it says, must be sufficient that it is able to end that move in your coherency and in engagement range. Not that it has to. Must be able to. Having the ability to do something and actually doing it are obviously 2 separate things. So I think that's a fairly legitimate Just realised I didn't highlight that earlier on. I bet I did on the other one. Nope. That's a pain. We'll do that another time, that's fine. But yeah, I think that's a pretty legit thing. You have to be able to, not that you have to. And every time I mention it to somebody, like, no, rules as written, it says exactly this. And it doesn't. Yes, I think Cold Touch 5 might be as well, because you assign it to the broadside or whatever it is, and then you pass it off. So you're still assigning it to that model. So I think he's right, and we can't cheekily make Tau shield drones take armor saves and savior protocols rolls that they don't want to. Right, how do we do this one? This one's going to be down at the side, so that's up. Yeah, I think that's right, and almost every single person I talk to about it has a rant at me about how much I'm wrong. Like, they can't possibly have done that. You know, they wouldn't have done that. Rawr. They've shown that they don't like you to have no thought in protecting stuff, which is why they've changed the Lookout Sir rules from what they used to be for just the character targeting rules. And so having characters untargetable because there's an infantry screen in the way, I suppose makes narrative sense, like the lads dive on and protect their boss. But I'm also relatively sure that they wouldn't do that. So I'm going to submit that as a FAQ question. And if I'm found to be right, I am going to laugh at so many people. And yes, I appreciate it. I'm only asking this question for that way. Tabletop Minions, you're absolutely right. If it's possible, then a charge is successful, and models net you make a charge move so as to fulfill the above condition. But the above condition is only that you have rolled high enough that you are able to. There's still no mention of you must engage every single unit declared a charge against. You must be able to. So I still think that what I'm suggesting is correct. I'm not for 1 second saying that it's intended to be the spirit of the rules, like, because they've removed speculative charges. It's not going to charge that, and that, and see what happens. So I'd understand it if they ruled against. Genuinely would. But rules as written, I believe I'm correct. And I know as soon as somebody says, "Oh, rules as written," you know, here's my degree at the Warhammer Law University, don't you see? I'm summa cum laude. You know they're a dickhead, like you just know. But it's a brand new edition, and nobody's played like hundreds of games yet, unless you're a playtester. I think it's worth considering. I think there's going to be a few things like that as well, especially when we start getting into like the minutiae in different codices. Because there's lots of special rules that only affect certain troops and certain units, and only sometimes in certain situations as well. And the only reason that rule even came into question for me was because I declared a charge against 2 units that were in that kind of screening-ish formation. I said, well, do I have to stand next to this unit as well as this one? They're only about an inch apart. Like, do I have to let you attack me with this? No one knows. But a gun does mortal wounds, additional normal damage. Normal saves are taken before mortal wounds are allocated in the order of operations run. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you can't dodge the mortal wounds that way. It's going to happen regardless of what you want. How are we going to highlight this top bit? I think that will be this way. Just because I want a bit more contrast down towards the front face of that shoulder pad. So this is one of those beautiful times where a rule of cool highlight and an actual common sense highlight kind of overlap each other. Right, these ones though, we'll do this way. here. So again, just tilting the Mini so we've got exactly the right angle to leave ourselves a nice transition on his armor panels. A lot of time airbrush control is not about what's in this hand, but is about what's in this hand. You have to make both charges in engagement range of both. Where specifically does it say you have to end your move? Have to end your move in engagement range of both? Because I've read this about 100 times now. That's a slight exaggeration, but not much of one. Oh, a little bit of speckling. Let's just clean the tip a bit. I love these little rules debates, though. I'm not the kind of person that would do this debate at a tournament like that. That drives me up the wall. But I love this kind of speculative sort of chat about things. Like, what does the designer actually intend at this point? Part of what I do for my day job is copywriting. And I don't mean like the little C in the circle copywriting, I mean like writing copy. And it's very important to use the exact right word in the exact right way when doing any kind of legal document. And so I've gotten used to the fact that you have to use particular words in particular orders, because you have to say exactly what you mean and not leave any wiggle room. And that obviously is something that rules writers have to deal with as well. So the fact it doesn't say that you must end your move, it's written that way so Fly can fly over screens and things, but Fly can do that anyway, because they ignore engagement ranges when they move in the charge phase and the movement phase, but obviously not in the fight phase. Is that not right? I don't play with any units that fly, unless somebody wants to give me a flying knight, and then yes. They gave dreadnoughts jump packs, you know. Give my knights fly. It'd be so cool. We'd be Gundams. Little rule bullet does say, if insufficient to move, engagement range of all targets charge fails. That's correct, because you must be able to move far enough to reach all the targets you declare charge against. What schemes is Judicia being painted up? So Judicia is being painted up as an ultramarine, as decided by the stream. And the Scorpec Lord is being painted like Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim, which I cannot wait to paint. Unfortunately, Chris, there were not a lot of people that voted for the Blue Crons, which I was surprised about. Can't fly over units they haven't declared charge against. Ah, fair enough, I didn't know that. Bring back the BA Flying Land Raider. Hell no. Was that when you could wings any unit? Right, let's do the inside of his arm. And then, seeing as it's now getting late, we'll start work on the body. That leaves me just the head and one of the engine pieces to do off stream. Or we could say enough of paint in blue and do the base red. Let's do the base, because that's going to be really, really cool. It's going to help offset all of this as well. Whoops, nearly dropped him. Blue Crons are yours. Absolutely, dude. I love the fact you've got that very trademarked theme for your crons. Anyone that sees blue crons is going to be like, oh, did you watch Chris Rosin's stream to see that? The same as anyone that sees like sandstone crons is going to say, oh, did you watch Midwinter Mini stream to see how to do that? Sorry, Mikey, but that's just the way it is. Right, let's do the base. We've done loads of glue. Let's do the base. For the Khan, you're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. To make a charge move, the unit's charge roll must be sufficient that it is able. That's the key word in that sentence. It must be able. So you've got 2 units to declare a charge against. They're in opposite directions. Right? So you're in the middle. One's at 3 o'clock, one's at 9 o'clock. One is 8 inches away, one is 10 inches away. You can declare against both. If you don't roll a 10 and be able to reach any of them, you don't move. And that's the thing, right? That makes this a definite way where you can still sort of carry out a semi-speculative charge, but kind of gives you some options. It also means that you can charge through a screen, which otherwise you wouldn't be able to do, or over one, because as Chris has pointed out, units with fly don't ignore engagement ranges in the charge phase. So there's a lot of wiggle room in that rule. Now, I submit, once again, I submit that is probably not the way it's intended. Probably. But it is what it says. So, for the Khan, just to clear up, I'm not trying to be a dickhead. That's absolutely not my intent. But I am dyslexic, right? And those two do not go hand to hand. But let me explain. Because of my dyslexia, one of the things that I have learnt to do is when I am reading something, especially for the first time, it's something I need to pay attention to. Rather than reading in sentences, I read in words. So I read the word of to make a charge move the unit. And I have to do it that way. Otherwise, things get mixed up. I got into that habit about 20 odd years or so ago because suddenly things made more sense if I did. Do that day, you say that, but it could just be 2 different units. It could be 2 units, one to the left, one to the right, and so you want to charge behind them. So, because of that, as soon as I saw the word able, I'm like, okay, that means specifically that you don't necessarily have to, it's just got to be something you can do. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I would like to see cleared up by an official FAQ. And again, this is not something I'd argue at a table. And the amount of times it will come up will be negligible. But it's open for debate, I feel. Right. We gave this a quick Zenithal style, exactly, it really wasn't a Zenithal style, a quick undershade earlier on. So we gave it some pre-highlighting. Now we're going to take some Kador red, which is super bright red, and we're going to carefully apply this all over the base. What we're going to do with this is the opposite of what we were doing with the blue. With the blue, we started with a dark colour and worked up to the light colour. With this, we've given ourselves a bit of a roadmap underneath the paint we're about to lay down. But we're then going to add shades in afterwards to darken it, because we want to get to the brightest possible red. We want this red to stand out miles from the suit. So we're going to go in very light with the airbrush. We're working from a distance. You can see we're probably about 4 inches or so away. You can go all the way back to here if you wanted, because the amount of flow improvements in it, the paint won't dry in the air. What you need to do now is basically remove all the pink. So you keep applying paint until there's no pink left. Lock yourself into just a small amount of paint coming through the brush. And make sure you give the base a very, very good going over. You'll start to see that red really build in intensity now. I'm going to spray your shadows. They'll end up just a dark red. So all this around the side. It's going to be the same red Tau walls as we've got already. Oh, don't worry, dude. I didn't take it in a native way. Yeah, OB team, you're right. I used to do the same thing. I charge every fucking thing within range, especially with a knight where I know they can't really hurt me with their Overwatch. Because now I get to an objective. Now I get to just get over there and tuck myself in, so I'm touching a building and getting some cover. Dude, that's some of it. That is some of it. That and I'm never bored by like repetitions of stuff. So when it comes to playing the knights, where you're basically playing the same game every game, that doesn't bore me because the opponent's different, the army's different, the objectives that I may have to get that game might be slightly different. So I'm always happy to just grind away and get the practice in. But that's some of it. Is I have to read the rules in a specific way to make sure that I can digest them, and so I rarely make mistakes. I had a conversation with a guy called Mike Porter, so if you guys follow the ITC at all, you'll probably know that name. Mike and I had a game last year that was very negative. There was a rules mistake that was made on, unfortunately, his part, where a unit was firing with a gun that should not have been wounding me on the roll it was wounding me on. And that was essentially, unfortunately, why we lost the game. Had that not happened, then I probably would have taken out another one of his tanks in my turn too, rather than only just not quite killing it. And we would have very possibly would have gone on to win the event. I'm just going to let some of that flow out of the airbrush, and I'm going to add in a little bit of black to it, just a tiny amount. But because of that, specifically, now I'm even more careful when I read the rules. So we now try and get a game. This is what I explained to Mike the last time we played, which was this year, which I lost very badly at, but fairly this time. Let's play a game with 0 mistakes. Dude, thanks for hanging around. Take it easy. Hopefully we'll see you again. Brett, how's it going, dude? That's darn red. That is very red, mate. Now we're going to darken it down a little bit. Yeah, my goal is always to play a game that is the perfect game. So, no wrong rules interactions. That's the starter point. Then it's no wrong decisions. So I didn't choose to do the wrong thing. And that's much harder, obviously, making sure everything you do in the space of a game is actually perfect. You need a bit more black in that. It's not quite dark enough. See you around, dude. And then you have to keep doing that. So then it's not just a perfect game, it's a perfect event. So now events are starting to move into, well, we heard you like to play toy soldiers, so we've decided that we're going to run 9 games this weekend, split over 3 days. Yes, please. I am a happy boy when shit like that happens. At the Beachhead Brawl, which was in February this year, I was very fortunate to win Best Painted, which is the super cool, wrong shoulder, Tau head trophy that's right here. It's a Tau skull on a stick. I fucking love that. That's a banging trophy. But at that, Saturday, day 1, it's 4 games with a 15-minute break in between games 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. and an hour's lunch between game 1 and 2. And that was so good. So good. Because I spent years in a kitchen, standing on my feet all day, learning to not be tired. And most people didn't. So we got to game 4 and people around me were like, I don't even care. Just roll your dice, mate. I'm not... You know, my opponent was actually half asleep at the table. And was playing Custodes versus my Knights, which was not a good matchup for him. But I love that kind of endurance 40k. There was an event in the Netherlands in the earlier part of this year, because I think it was the same weekend as the Prague GT, perhaps. They called it an Iron Man event. It was a GT. It was 5 games. Someone keep me honest, it might have been 6. If you know the event. But it was 5 games played in one day. So you start at 8:30 in the morning or whatever it was, and you play till about 3 in the morning. I'd have been all over that if I could go, but I just couldn't. It was the weekend after the Prague GT. I was in Prague doing the commentary with the Hellstorm guys. Had a great weekend with Mikey and Elliot. Fucking loved it. And that was my 6th event that I was going to in a row, and I just could not justify a 7th. Otherwise, I'd have been there. I'd have got a room for, I say a night, but like the following morning, gone out, played, come home, slept, and just done it that way. Oh, yes. Just absolute yes. I'd love that. But that's very much my bag, and I know a lot of people are much more casual gamers look at that and go, that's the most horrible thing, and why would you ever do that? I get it. I do. I'm a freak. But I'm so down for stuff like that. So when we get to, like, we're going to play 3 days, and it's going to be 9 games across that, I can still function. I'm still good. So I'd be very, very up for that kind of event. And as we get into that, this is where you really, really, really are going to struggle to get those perfect games in and that perfect event in. And so if you know the rules absolutely inside and out, to the point where everything is on autopilot, you'll be alright. All I'm doing now is I'm just getting some shadows in on these bits of like grit and rubble that we've got going on. I feel we need to do this a different colour, because the base is obviously very samey right now. We've only done the red, but I already know that we need a bit more interest on here. So what colour should we do that, guys? I don't want to do metallics. I want every part of this base that isn't this Tau stuff to be basically made out of plastic, shiny plastic. You sure you're not a tech priest? I've got no metal bits. I've got plenty of bits that don't work, you know. So, unlikely to be a tech priest. I mean, we're not going to talk about my mechadendrites. Grim. Did I yeah, terrain wars. I think in events, there will definitely be like a key put on the table. Here's what these bits of terrain do and what keywords they've got. That's that. Hey, Rocky giving Brett a sub. You boss. Brett, let me give you your meeps. There you go, dude. That's 3k for you. White or grey? White or grey actually would work because we're doing Farsight Enclave as the base theme. My tower, the not good guy Tau that have just gone and smashed in your Farsight house. So I think that would be cool. Definitely do white. Should we just airbrush some white on? No mask. Just do it. Reckon we could. Yeah, I think we will. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep blocking out all of the darker areas around this. There's a little bit of battle damage here, which will be darkened. And a bit of battle damage here, which will be darkened. But mostly so we can apply weathering to those areas at another time, rather than anything else. We'll do like a scorched burn mark on these. We'll really darken this down to a true black. But for now, let's just give them a little bit of heat scoring. Then we'll paint that bit white. Or Tower bad. Yeah. But mine are like the bad guys. Bad guys are cooler than good guys. Is this on my playlist? Yes. So I got a fucking copyright claim against me because despite the fact we're playing the stream music, just royalty free. This one isn't. There we go. I need to remove that one. Fuck's sake. Just stick to the stream music, you son of a bitch. I need to remove that one from the stream, but that's where it went wrong. And we're probably going to be copyright claimed on this one as well now, which is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Bin. Remove from stream music. Cool. Everything else is royalty free. Sweet. Right, just flushing the airbrush out so we can obviously work with some white paint, and then off we go. Any Farsight is bad for the greater good. Yeah, but we're taking out the Farsight. And I'm going to play these guys probably as Farsight enclaves as well. For the Khan, that's probably the best attitude to have. Like, the terrain is this. If it's not that, like, alright, cool, just whatever, and we'll dice for it or whatever. Don't spend that much time. No one in 40k is good. You are absolutely incorrect. My Imperial Knights fight for truth, justice, honor. Trying to think of a 40k version of the American way, but I can't think of. They're Reformed Iron Warriors as well, which makes it super heretical. Right, let's start off with some grey. Let's get that Administratum back out. So here we go. Get some flow improver going on. The one I skipped. Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Began with a J. That doesn't narrow it down at all. So apologies, mate. The Imperial Truth. That's an oxymoron. Second Amendment, the right to arm bears. I think that's the spirit of the rule, but that's not rules as written. Right. So we know we're going to get some of this on the red. That's totally fine. Because the darkest bits of red, we can just go back over with some red mixed with black. That'll cover up the white. No issues. Shoshi! How you doing? Can we get a shout out, please, for Shoshi? Thank you very much for the follow. How you doing? And if we get any of this on the brightest parts of the red, well, all the brightest parts of the red were red put down over this grey, and it'll be absolutely fine if it goes down over white. So we're really not concerned about our overspray. Now, what if when we're correcting it, we get some red over the white? Is that okay? The darker red, yeah, it's absolutely fine. Because that darker red is kind of our dirt colour. So you see we've got bits of dirt here. It's our rubble colour. It's a good colour. We're going to use as a base of some weathering and heat scoring and stuff like that. Hey, Rocky, giving that sub out as well. Let me give Shoshi her meeps. Their meeps, sorry. There you go. So, It's 3,000 meeps for you. Now, here's the thing though. Just started spraying here, working up the mini. We've got some overspray there, not a bother at all. Let's just mask that off with our hand. Get that going down. Then we'll flip it and we'll work this side. Why didn't we come all the way up here? Because we're likely to get a load of overspray here. Don't need that. Oh my god. Moyle's Meticulous Minis. The dyslexia is real. Thank you very much for that raid. We're getting all the raids tonight. You guys rock. Thank you very much, man. Welcome to the channel. How you doing? Let's get a shout out for Moyle's Meticulous Minis. Can still just about say that. How's your stream? What'd you get up to? The Airbrush, to answer your question, is an Iwata Eclipse HPCS. It's 0.35mm needle, so it's not crazy small. It's not built for absolutely fine detail work. It's just I spend a lot of time messing around with an airbrush. So earlier on today, for instance, we've done all of the airbrushing on these bits. We did all of the highlights for the grey on this guy. It's easy to avoid overspray if you're sort of cognizant of how everything is going to line up. So how you're holding your mini, how much air you're putting through, how little paint you're putting through, all these sorts of things. It just takes practice, and occasionally takes things like a tiny ass piece of cardboard that you can just do that with, for instance, and then do this. It's not all about Tamiya tape. Not always. But mostly it's about restricting the amount of paint that you allow through your airbrush. You can use as much pressure as you want. Dude, Kingfish Games, thank you very much. DK, no, it's not a cushion piece. It's for me. It's my time. Super excited. I'm nearly finished following the Land Raider Redeemer instructions, and my Magma Droth is coming in soon. I'm mounting its head over the forward guns. Dude, that's some grimdark right there. I'm assuming this is going to be a Salamander vehicle. It certainly would make sense. Right, that's some grey base coat. Let's amp this up, get some white going on. So we're going to flush out most of that. Leave a little bit left. And then we're going on to this stuff. This is gold dust. Absolutely gold dust. So. Damn, Moyles, I missed your chat. Stream was good. I'm blitzing my way through painting all of Indomitus before its release day. And 61 minis in 14 days is a real big thing. It is, man. That's some achievement. Congratulations. I hope you make it. You got 6 days to go. How many are left? Got asked in the chat. Now I pick up my copy slightly earlier, but not as early as you've clearly managed to get yours. So, you know, I have friends in low places. You've got friends in lower places, perhaps. But I love those kind of painting challenges. Absolutely love those kind of painting challenges. A couple of weekends ago, it was about a month, I painted a Nurgle Demon Army. 118 minis. It was 90 Plague Bearers. It was 6 Toads, 3 Beasts, 15 bases of Nurglings, 4 characters. Was there anything else? Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. But yeah, it was a lot. 118 minis in 35 hours, and that included basing them in a Garden of Nurgle paint scheme, which was a lot of fun. We started at 10 AM Saturday morning, worked till about 2, I think. Slept for a few hours, and And then, oh, I need way more flow improvement. Oh, damn it. Came out a little bit grainy. By a little bit, I mean it was the most speckly thing I've ever seen. When painting white, this almost any bright color, in fact, the thinner you go, the better. And then really just work on that control. That's all. So we've gone from this, which is super speckly, as you can see, to what will hopefully not be, which is much more refined. See along there, yeah? So now I'm going to highlight this. Now we're not a pure white, there's a little bit of grey in here. This is fine. And the reason for that is we have a, you like that emote best. It's a good emote. What is it? It's the kind of face. But yeah, if you highlight this all the way up to pure white using the airbrush and the ink, well, where have you got to go for your brushed highlights? There's nowhere, right? You've got no more wiggle room. The planes that I'm doing at the moment, the Aeronautica Imperialis commission we've got, the reason we're not painting that on stream tonight is because every part of that commission has been base coated with white. It's had all the white done. Got a load of Orc planes to do white in a, I believe it's a Japanese World War I plane colour scheme. I'm not a history buff. Rocky, don't you dare besmirch my heroic achievement painting that army in a weekend. You little shit. But yeah, those planes are all white, and all I'd be doing on stream right now is blocking in some bits that are going to be metal or are going to be black. That's it, and that's dull as dishwater. Nobody wants to see that. I forgot to ask, are we doing comic book with Magnus? Everything I do is kind of that style, mate. Did you not want me to? That's the question, because otherwise he's going to be. He's going to be Magnus the Blue for a start, with red armor. And has Justin said that he'll do that base for you, or for us, I should say. Smithy, peace out, dude. We're going to be going to the whip in a second, actually. So, Baden's Lost Arms, that is a brilliant username. You're a champion. Absolutely love that. What as comic books you can get? Done. It won't have black lines around it. You know that. Okay. Yeah, all good. All good. So if you guys want to show off what you're working on, ! Discord, head on over to the Work in Progress gallery where you can show us what you're working on right now. And I give you guys just a minute or two to do that while I fix this tiny amount of overspray we've got around here, and then we're going to be calling it a day on our painting for the evening. Just realized you have a Yondu emote. Yes. Yes, we do. Because that is one of my nicknames. I'm not sure why. Like, there's a severe lack of imagination going on if Yondu is what they come out with. But when I start whistling, they do run away. So we can take that as a plus. You know. Yondu is the best. Yondu is the best. I'm Scary Poppins, y'all. You can't put black lines around a three-dimensional object when viewed from any side. I mean, now you're just limiting me. God, I don't know, Rocky. First you take away my epic achievement, painting that Nurgle army, and the next thing you do, you tell me that I can't do something. You're not the boss of me, man. long enough to allow spoilers. That's how long that movie's been out. Right, so now we're back to just red. So now what we're going to do is going to quickly hair dry this down while you guys queue up some stuff for Discord for your whip. Make sure that white is nice and dry. Ooh, toasty. Wait, you're not Groot. Unless I'm painting something green, I don't have green fingers. You know. There's only so many like tree man got wood jokes I can make before we start getting out of the realms of an acceptable joke for the stream. So we're not going to do that. So again, it's just about building up layers and layers of that red till it becomes opaque and we don't see any pink coming through again. Like so. Oh look, no white. We do have a tiny bit of white there on the end of that red. But that one we'll get with a brush. Like we'll do that one by hand. The rest of this is where the darker red needs to come in. So that's where we did the bright red first. Now we can just add a little bit of black to what we've got going on here. I'm about to tear you up on the whip. Okay. Okay. How bad is this going to be? Do you accept Instagram links in your whip, guy? I'd rather you just took the image off Instagram. You should put it into the whip if possible. Only because in Discord especially, if it can't find the image, it just shows a link, and that's always a risky click. Obviously, Twitch being what it is, there's certain things that they'd rather you didn't show. And so we try and avoid clicking links. Right, here we go. So now we've got our dark red. It doesn't matter if some of this gets on our whatever this white box is, because it's dirt, it's dust at that point, right? So we're working close, working real close, as you can see. We're working with a very, very, very small amount of air coming through. We're working, sorry, with a very small amount of paint coming through. We're working with loads of air to keep our cone of paint super tight. So you've got that control. It's just about making sure we don't do that. I bet no one was fooled by that at all. That hose will probably do black, so I'm not going to bother coloring that in. Now let's get in here and make sure that we don't get any of that red in a way that it shouldn't be. Boom, done, sorted. Ta-da! Right. So I did it because I saw one doing it. Yeah. Like I said, it's a bit of a risky click, so we try and avoid it. Tonight, we have done the start of this Tau base. We've done many parts of the Tau mans. And you can see now we've got that blue up and against that red. It's going to really, really, really contrast against what we've got going on here. By the time we get this dude kneeling down on that base in exactly the same pose as one of the coolest scenes in movie history, this one, Iron Man is such a film. Such a film. We're going to have that for this dude here. We've got little beep boop bot chilling out, ready to deliver a salad to your table. But there we go. Quickly, before we go into the whip, remember guys, this month is a crazy, crazy, crazy month for giveaways. Not only on the 30th, which is next Thursday, is it the last week. Is it next Thursday or the Thursday after? Fuck my brain. The Thursday after. I thought I'd come around a bit quick. Damn. Thursday the 30th, last day of the month that we stream on. Not only are we giving away our normal £50 hobby voucher, Twina. Sorry, I've completely annihilated that name. Panacreatina. I think. Hello. Thank you for joining, and sorry about your name. But not only could you win that £50 hobby voucher, last month was used to basically buy Nagash. That's an epic model to win. You could also win a mini painted by me in a colour scheme of your choice. Now, last month, the giveaway was Ragnar Blackmane, and here he is with a cat hair on him. Here he is in all his glory. We did all of the major work of this on stream, including showing you guys how to make these icicles. All of it. So if you want to see that played back, go and look me up on YouTube, !YouTube for a link. Chaos Spawn Wargaming, thank you for that follow, man. Welcome. This month, you have the choice of an Obliterator, the cool one with the plasma cannon with the mouth thing. This is a cool mini. It's a very cool mini. I wouldn't be upset if I got to paint that. The Blood Bowl Minotaur, useful for Sigma Blood Bowl, obviously. Trolls you a bit with reading her name. Damn, man. Damn you, Rev. Was I even close? But this guy is awesome. Love this. That's another one up for grabs. Or you could choose the contents of Bunker Goose. Thank you for that follow. The contents of the mystery box. Now, in this box, there could be anything. There is a mini, and the entire mini is in the box. So, obviously, from the size of the box, that rules out some things that it could be. But not a lot. Could be anything in there. It's a gamble. It could be a great prize. Could have fooled you. Could be a bad prize. But there is definitely a mini in there. Whether it's a limited edition Space Marine, or whether it's the other Obliterator, yeah, it could be. Or a piece of scenery, or Ripper Swarm. Or just a Nurgling. And not even a cool one, just a shit Nurgling. Could be that. But those are two of our normal giveaways that we do. We also, this month, because it's the Indomitus release, 9th edition 40k, we're giving away one entire Indomitus box. If you would like to have the chance to win, do the Blood Bowl Crocs? Yes, they do. But if you would like a chance to win an entire Indomitus box, not part of, the whole shebang, exclamation point box, follow the link that you'll get in that command. It's a link to Instagram. Follow the instructions on that post. You could win a box. An entire box. And then finally, the last one. And this straw poll will close this evening. On the launch weekend. That is this weekend coming now. We're at the end of Sunday, so it's next weekend. We're going to paint the Judicia and the Scorpec Lord in colour schemes chosen by this community. You chose for the Judicia to be an Ultramarine. 28 people voted for the Ultramarine. You also chose for the Scorpec Lord to be painted in my own custom version of Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim, and I am buzzing so hard to paint that. I can't wait. That's going to be fucking epic. So, if you would like to have the chance of winning either of those, be sure to be here on that release weekend. But for now, we need to know what kind of base we're painting them with. Or we're basing them with, I suppose, is actually the best way to say that. So if we flick over here, this is where we're at. Currently, the Urban Jungle is in the lead. 15 votes, 28%. Imperial Palace Marble, which was my pick. Actually, that's the one that I would go for. Coming in there in second. So if you want to see a marble tutorial, how to paint marble, then be here for that release weekend. And go here and vote for that. If you want to see Urban Jungle though, and you're desperate for that, exclamation point base in the chat, follow the link, go here, vote for that, keep it in that first position. But for now, we're going to go over to Discord. We're going to go to that work in progress gallery. And was that tonight before the stream? That was before the stream. So here we go. This is from Rocky. This is what he wants. Some Relatively savage CNC. Rocky's weird like this. Doesn't want it sugar coated. So first things first. We've got Disco Lord. And this is at the pre-wash stage, you've said, right? So still plenty of work to do. Okay, first thing I've noticed is that it looks like some of your metallics are a little bit see-through. That could just be the camera, and it could just be where they're reflecting something else. But especially on the legs at the front there, it looks like you can see through them a little bit. Without the wash going down, I can't really tell you much more than that, though, because nothing really has a lot of contrast. Everything looks exactly the same. Eat you? Yeah, absolutely, mate. So, it's difficult to give you any CNC because the first comment is always from me, increase your contrast levels. Most people don't wash down dark enough or highlight bright enough, and they get somewhere everything in a middle ground where it all kind of, from a distance at least, blends in. You don't have that on this because you've got these very delineated areas of gold. But, well, there you are. See, your metallic ink pigment is hard to mix. Then you've got to get that nailed down, mate, because metallic yellow, we'll call it, is a massive part of this mini, and you have to get that right. It's on Discord, and then it is the work in progress part comes up. So definitely, that's the only real feedback I can give you right now. With regards to your bell flamer, it looks like you've tried to do the OSL before you've done any of the washes. The light effect goes on top of everything else, right? So do that last. But, you know. You think it's too yellow? So it is very yellow. But you're about to wash it, which means you're about to apply a filter to it. You've seen my yellow before we apply both a purple wash and a flesh tone wash over the top, right? You know how that looks. So you've got the chance now to tint that towards a different part of the colour spectrum. Let's have a look at the butt shot. Did you skip painting the inside parts of those legs? Like the feet? Because the one on the right hand side there looks grey. Not metallic yellow. I only say that metallic yellow because it could be a brass, it could be a gold, I'm not sure. But you've got to get that gold sorted out before you wash it. Okay, is that just the reflection then? Cool, that's fine. But get the washes down, get the contrast, build that in, and then we'll go from there. So Danny, I'll print you one. This is cool. So this is the new undead dudes for Fantasy, for Sigma. But this one is converted out of the brand new Inquisitor model, and I really, really, really like this idea. It's very, very cool. He's got his spear going on. He's got his arm off. He's got that dragon. This is sick. Oh, and here's the colour scheme. Nice, dude. For your shield, I love all the turquoise, like flat out, say it right now, love all the turquoise. But you've got these blue lines on the shield which are a different highlight to bring the highlight out of a different material. And I think you could do with either, if that's the highest highlight you want to do, the brightest highlight, you could either do with just blending in a darker colour and feathering that in a little bit, so it introduces itself a bit more gradually, or going for a slightly higher highlight, a little bit brighter, restricting it a little bit more, so making it thinner and just hitting some of the corners. Looks like there's some rivets just coming down in a line there as well, because that part looks a little flat in comparison to the turquoise parts, which look like they've got a lot more volume and a lot more shape. Because they look great. You've got more of a sense of shade going on with those, whereas with that bit, it's just missing that little extra bit. Rutan Clan, how's it going, brother? Good to see you as always. Right, here we go. Here's George. Converted Legion Vigilator finished, ready to hunt the enemies of the War Master. Managed to get some parts from Egghead Miniatures a while back, such as the shoulder pad and helm, as well as the knee pads on the dread to finish it off. I really like the colour scheme. This is sort of Sons of Horus with a feck load of gold. And George, the addition of a light box definitely helps you out. You can now see the mini. Nice basing scheme. A little bit sloppy with your basing material. That's a bit of a bugbear for me. I like the basing to be super clean, as you guys know. So whenever you're applying whatever it is that you're using, whether it's a Games Workshop thing or a Vallejo pumice or just sand and PVA glue or whatever, just quickly wipe around that with your thumb. Say if you're trying to file it down afterwards, which is always a pain in the arse. Really nice, mate. You could probably go with a little bit more shading around some of the gold, so some of the rivets look a little bit too much part of. They almost look like that entire part was sort of made and then painted gold, which is what you've done here, because there isn't any real separation between them and the shoulder pad trim and stuff like that. So again, it comes down to add some more contrast in. But really good, mate. Very good. Fletcherton, first try using the airbrush for proper paintwork. I think I messed up the layering of blue up to white on the wings. In natural light there isn't much contrast, it just looks black and white. Okay. So, going to repeat ourselves. Contrast. So you've got an okay blend of blue into white. And I know you said in natural light it just looks like it's black and white. But here it looks absolutely fine. But what you do need to do is get some edges to those areas. So if you take a wash, so either make one yourself by just thinning down paint, or use a pre-bottled, pre-made wash. But you need to now go in around all of those little bits of the wing. So where the sort of bones are in between your flappy bit. I don't know anatomy. Just going to get a wash, pin wash it in those recesses. You've seen me do that quite a lot when we've been doing OSL, all that sort of thing. And we will obviously be doing it on the tile we've painted tonight, which will be getting into all those recesses, crisping everything up quite nicely. But then also where you've got any texture on the tears in that wing fibre, just make sure you get in there and build up a little bit of contrast as well. And that will really help snap everything into focus. Membrane, well done. Thanks, Crooked. But I like what you're doing. A quick thing to note, with a lot of larger models, you'll notice you get these little gaps. And if you look, I'm hoping there's something that's sat on his back that covers that gap between like its butt and the wing. If not, now is about your last chance to fill that with something and paint over it before you get much further. What colour would work there? A blue wash or just a dark or black? You could just mix some black and some blue and thin the hell out of it with water and just paint it in around those recesses, mate. The blue wash from Army Painter is quite good because it's quite a dark blue. Black might be a little bit too much, so give it a try with some blue first. Just do 1 or 2 panels, set it down, let it dry, let all that glossiness from a freshly applied wash disappear, and then have a look at it afterwards. And if you think that's not quite enough contrast, and if it's one of those things, if you've got to ask, then you know, then add the black in. Look from this side. That looks great. The wings are a lot brighter than the rest of the body, so you've obviously got something planned for the flames, maybe a different colour or something like that perhaps. The rib cage does look a little bit weird. In fact, let's have a quick, just boost this out. Get a bit of a deep dive on the ribs. Where are we heading? Here we go. Okay, the first thing that's weird about that is that the protrusions for where the ribs are pushing through the skin don't match where the ribs are. That's a bit weird. How have you painted these Fletcherton, these ribs? Purple would work up very, very well actually, because it works very well with blue because it contains blue, but it's inevitably a darker version of blue. I think these are fine. It's just they don't go through the same level of vibrancy as the white up here. So here you've got the darker blue, as you can see on the rest of his wings. Then you've got this nice mid-tone blue before it goes into the white. Whereas on the ribs, it kind of goes straight from dark blue to white. You're missing that transition in the middle. And so that's what they need a little bit. For the flames, keep them with that cold blue. I like that. That's solid. And then what have we got here? Different shot of the flames. Supposed to make they look great. Again, they benefit from some contrast. Get in between the little bits of flickering flame. But they're a nice vibrant blue, as opposed to the very cold blue of the rest of it. So you're using the same area of the color spectrum in different ways to give you different effects, and that's a really, really good thing to see. Also, I love the fact you've got some FW ink right there, because that punches. Right, here we go, Frozin, relevant to your stream tonight, great minds, man. So here we are. This is a broadside, twin plasma, and the rail rifle. And a shield generator. Damn, this broadside went all out. Similar pose as well, man. Have we got... Oh, that's the only shot we've got. Nice. Nice. I see you did a bit of work, reposition the ankle a little bit as well. I didn't. Mine sort of sat exactly how I wanted it to sit. But yeah, a little bit of extra going on. Nice, man. I like that green too. Nice little turquoisey jade kind of colour. Actual whip for tonight. Oh, he's back to his Dark Eldar. See, these are some Scourges. Oh no, these are Scourge helmets. And I think one of them is a Scourge body. But these are Archons, I think. Last time I saw these, you were doing Archons. Can we get a shout out for Frozin, please? Because this guy is a legend. Nice though, mate. Very cool. Very cool. Hobo J, some stuff for the new shop display. He's been getting his Necrons on. So Jake works at the GW in Cribs. He's got to be painting those Necrons. Apparently they have a like a tutorial video, like here's how you must paint. Just to the post, same inspiration. Nice. It is definitely great minds then, man. But yeah, there we go. Got some Necrons, the new slightly derpy looking warriors. What do you think about the new warriors, Chris? Because you are the most die-hard Necron fan ever. I don't like them because of their heads, but I know a lot of people like them because of their heads. What do you think? Sons of Rolo, mostly getting base colours down tonight and finish off my first HGD to work on my edge highlight more tomorrow. Will you follow your YouTube video as doing the face? Oh, sweet, man. So we've got a Space Wolf. This is the Primaris Lieutenant. We actually painted one of these and gave it away. And then it came back to me in the mail, so I gave it away to somebody else. Nice, way. I like the grey. Like the grey a lot. You've gone for more of a muted grey rather than the sort of duck egg blue grey that we went for Peckish's Ragnar. I really like the splash of green. Love the yellow you've got on the shoulder pad. A little bit of magenta on the knife casings there. Scabbards. That's quite cool as well. This is good. You've got nice little bits of colour theory in here. I like this. Decent shading. Yeah, you've done well on this, man. You've done very well. Oh, and there we go. There's the Dogs of War. Nice. Do you know what you're doing for the bases yet? Because that's still quite a large bit of work to do by the looks of it. But I like it, mate. Keep it going. Alright, Ent. We got Tau. This guy's actually just sort of sat on that paint pot. That is the perfect pose to be sat on that paint pot. Nice. Very nice. Similar colour scheme. Because we didn't get a chance to do this yet, but we're going to do purple up to this colour pink. This is what I call hooker lipstick pink, which is Vallejo Sunset Red. We'll be going bright on this guy. So, similar colour scheme. I like this a lot. Need some highlights from what I can see, but obviously still a whip, still attached to that cork. Yeah. Let us know how you get on, man. Quid. First of 3 Warsuits, Legion of the Damned theme. Oh yes, we've seen these as they've been painted up. So all the conversions, all the green stuff, the sculpting going on here. Love those flames, mate. I still think the main helmet on him is a little too large. But I love the skull you've got on his shoulder. That's just... that fits pretty perfectly. Slated Snow. Nice. Shoshi, it's such a vibrant pink. That's all it could possibly be. It's hooker lipstick pink. Nice work, man. Very, very nice work. I've loved seeing that come together as well. Alright, Peter, working on Doomsday Art conversions. Ooh. Okay. So, Mr. Mad Scientist over there went ham with this. We've got definitely a Triarch Stalker. And definitely a Doomsday Arc. But I like how you've done the Doomsday Arc. And you've mounted the gun to the top part and not the bottom parts. You don't have to do any of those ribs. Because fuck those ribs so much. Simondo, fair. Fair. I like this, dude. This is cool. I love the weathering as well. Loads of chipping, loads of grime. That's sweet. Oh no, there's 2 of them. God, it's like being attacked by crabs with an erection. Not sure where that came from. These are good though, mate. These are good. Fuck those ribs. They were such a bitch. Shoshi, I have very little filter at all. Here we go. Water from Arcadia Miniatures. Jesus wept. That's pretty awesome. So the coral is just spot on. I love that. Nice use of non-metallic metals. But the silver and the gold, obviously. I like your colour palette. You've got the rich sort of reddish brown, almost pink of that coral. You've then got your colder greens and blues. I'm not entirely certain what she's resting on. I'm assuming it's a shell of some description. Or is it a duck? I don't know. Just don't know anymore. It's a very visual language. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's not crass at all. The water's beautiful. Yeah, I really like that. You've got that definite impression of motion with the waves sort of coming up to the body of the lass here. You've got these little ripples going in around whatever the thing is that's next to her. It's good. Very, very good. Also, nice clean display base as well, which I really, really like. Yes, I'm slightly, rah about basing. You've gone very into yellow for her skin tone in places. What was the decision behind that? I think it looks good. I just want to understand. Look at the shoulder pad, her breasts. You've got definitely some yellow coming in there. I don't think it's not on the arms at all. Great work though. Absolutely love that. Well done. You're in a Mediterranean. Ah, that explains it. Yeah, the sort of olive. Yeah. Nice work. That's stunning. And can I just ask, where did you get your backdrop from? Because I really want to find a backdrop for my light box that's kind of like that. Because sometimes pure black isn't the best thing to take a photo against. And I can't find one anywhere for a light box. I can find, like, if you want one this big for taking photos of the entire family at once, I don't need that. I just need an offcut. Just pretend you've got one less child and I'll have this bit. You don't need this. Right, Balefire Forge. Ooh. Taking a break from doing nights. This is sick. So I'm a big fan of these like muzzle flash things. Ah, rubbish. I must admit I like your little frame that you've got as well. Very professional. Yeah, I love the little muzzle flash things. Just one or two here and there. If you had the entire squad with them, it'd just be like whatever. Unless they all fire in perfect synchronicity. As they all fire at exactly the same time, which is easier to say and sounds less pretentious. Wouldn't work like that. Love the armor, as usual, mate. You smashed it. Your blends are brilliant. This is what I mean about contrast, guys. Like, this is a perfect example of contrast, right? Look at how many areas of this model are super dark. So the leg, the bottom of his arm, bits of the helmet, parts of the backpack. All of these things are the absolute darkest version of that colour that it could be. Hobo, peace out, dude. See you soon. I will bear that in mind. I'll print you one. I will write you a message tomorrow at some point, I think. Print on fabric. Print on fabric. That would be cool. But right, this is lovely. I love the bolt casings on the base as well. Nice little extra bit of detail. But yeah, contrast. This is what it does for you, right? Gives you all these areas of attention. So your eyes, when you look at this picture, for instance, they're drawn initially to the head. Yeah, that's the first thing you notice when you look at this, is the head and the muzzle flash. Now they're on the same level. So your eye will move across between the two of those and the backpack very easily. But they'll be drawn down to the base, so your eye then travels all the way down the rest of the mini because of the difference in the light grey and the almost black leg plates in there. Nice, dude. We will definitely talk. You are UK based, right? Come us up, Bob, don't you worry. Beautiful, mate. Very, 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 very good. I love it. Right, Rev. Oh, here we go. Working on the Toxic Demon crew. Nice. I love these things. I've got 3 of these. Love them. Manchester, awesome. Mate, the icons are good. Good freehand. But I could tell. I wasn't going to big you up too much, right? Like it, mate. Nice in-your-face green. Proper bright purples. Looking good. Okay, Sister Knight. Comments are Bob. That's a lot of photos. We normally try and limit to 3, so we'll rattle through some of them. So obviously we've got a work in progress. Lots of bits currently. Best way to do a night is in bits. So that looks purple, but almost like candy coat purple. We've got white armor panels with some gold. Yes, it was purple. Trying to sort of piece it all together, mate. Overall, I like your colour scheme. Obviously still a whip, because there's plenty of bits to do still. There you can see a bit more of the knight himself now. So we've got a predominantly white colour scheme with splashes of purple and then larger elements of red, which is great. Obviously it's also a work in progress. Plenty of stuff going on. And that's the best way to paint a knight, like I've said. You don't have an airbrush, do you? The only reason I ask is because now you've got lots and lots and lots of flat areas which are difficult to paint with a brush. Because what you've got, if we look at just the carapace, and there was a better picture of that, we'll use this one. If you look at the front of the carapace, you've got the bit with the head sits underneath with that little slit up it. And then you've just got this like large area of red behind it. Now what you really, really want to do is, what Balefire is alluding to there in the chat, is to blend in some shadows and some highlights. And that takes time. Just a lot of time in general. Especially on something like this where you have these flat surfaces. So what you could do is start to work on the shadows first. Because if you do that, then you're sort of laying out a map for where the rest of your highlights go. That makes that a little easier. And it's always easier to control and to recover from any mistakes, I feel, if you do the shadows. So I know there's a Imperial symbol that goes where that little dot is in the middle of that sort of front panel. And so that's a good place to start your blend from. So when that's on that part of the mini, as your eyes float down that panel, you go from the lightest bit through a transition into some darker areas. Have you got much experience with glazing at all? Because that's where you want to be going now, is into some glazes. And essentially to create a glaze, all you do is you take a paint. So in your case, I would take either a darker red or just simply mix a little bit of red with a little bit of black. We've used red mixed with black today, and everyone will say, oh, it gets really desaturated and it's got black in it, so of course. But that's what all of this is just red mixed with black, and it still very much flows through some of those blends, right? Here to here is nice, here to here is nice. You know, we've got a lot of mileage out of that. Okay, no experience with blends, not a lot of experience with blends. Then what I would do is I wouldn't do anything with this at all yet. I'd go and grab yourself like a Space Marine. Let's see you've got a few in the background and just practice on something small. Because as soon as you get to a larger model, your blend still has to go from like nothing to everything, but across a larger area. And it's tough. I promise you, mate, it's tough. I don't do it by hand. Because it'll take, if I brush blended that carapace all the way down to the darkest I'd want it and all the way up to the brightest I'd want it, and I have a lot of experience doing this sort of thing, I'd be looking at about a day just spent glazing that carapace. So get some practice, but that's the next sort of step, the next evolution essentially if you're painting, is to start bringing in a lot of those extra shadows. And once you start finding yourself doing that, then everything explodes. Yeah. Saragon, thank you for that follow. You'll end up having every part of every mini looking interesting, and people will want to keep looking at your stuff because of that that contrast that you're building up, especially if you can get it smooth. So good luck. Good luck, man. Okay, E2. 12 plus years of that painting. Right, now I saw this in the whip the other day. I really, really, really like your colour scheme. Genuinely, 100% I do. I love the white shoulder pads. I actually really like the sort of varnished oak you've got on the stock of his rifle. Get you to sleep. Peace out, Bob. Thanks for stopping by, man. Love the blue of the skin. Big fan of this all over. Things that you could work on. some of your highlights could be blended in a little bit better. So if you look at his arm here, his bicep, it goes from mid-tone blue to blue! A very bright blue, super fast, right? So what you can do here, we go back to that glazing technique we were just talking about. If you take some of that brighter colour, thin that down and blend it away from that middle point, all the way around, so push outwards. And whilst I said blend it away from, with your brush you'll be blending towards it. So put almost no paint on your brush, start away from that bright highlight and work into the highlight from all sides. That way when you lift your brush off, you lift it off on the highlight that highlight you've already got, and that's where the brightest point will be. You'll be coming towards it, leaving just a thin film of paint on the way in with every brush stroke, and that will help to smooth that out. So again, it's about glazing, it's about getting that contrast, it's about getting it in the right way. But here, look at that. That stock is absolutely beautiful. I love that. Really nice wood grain effect. Darker mid-tones, a little bit of highlight in there. The whole thing obviously looks natural, and 10 out of 10, mate. And again, love the colour scheme. And we've got left just Hurtus. So preparing for 9th edition, Ragnar and 9 Inceptors got base colours and 2-tone shade. I only had problem with paint consistency. On models are some weird spots of paint. So Hurtus, these are hopefully going to be more useful to you than they have ever been to me. I think they're one of those weird units that you never really get the full potential out of. And now Fly doesn't fall back and shoot. It's just a bit. So I hope on a tabletop they bring you great joy and much love. I suspect they may not. But get them done, man. Get them done. Here's Ragnar. Raggy! Such a brilliant model. I loved painting this guy. It's a flying wall of lead. I mean, there's that. There is definitely that. But it's an 18-inch range heavy bolter. Meh. Meh. If they're Ultramarines, I'd make a case for them. Nice, dude. It's good. For the most part, it's very smooth as well. I know you said there's a few little bits here and there where it's not quite. But you've done well out of it, mate. You've done very well. So that is it for tonight. Remember, guys, go check out Exclamation Point Box, where you could win an entire Indomitus box set. Not just a little bit of one, the whole shebang. Sent to you anywhere in the world. Completely free. Just make sure you follow the instructions in that post, or you won't be entered. You just won't be entered. And that would really, really suck if you went through all of the work you need to do to get yourself entered in, but just missed one instruction. So, Exclamation Point Box, go to Instagram, follow the link. There may be, on say, Monday, perhaps, a way for you to get an additional entry. We've got a much smaller moth today. This one's tight. The moth, fucking last stream, we had a moth in here that was like this. Right? And that's not an exaggeration. This was a honking great big thing. I was trying to fish it out of the studio after the stream. And the moth went behind me, between the cabinet and the shelves, flew into that, and I was like, oh, God, I just can't like scoop the moth out now. I'm completely shafted. What are we going to do? And as it flew down towards the bottom, it started dislodging some spider webs. This fucking spider that was not small fucking dive bombs this. And it was like watching a monster movie from a distance. Moth like this, spider was smaller than the moth, but it was hench. It worked out. Clearly this thing did all 8 arm curls fucking all over every day. And these two battled it out. And the moth managed to get away. But my god. My god. Right, who are we going to go on raid? We've got choice of... Is he just finishing off? He might just be finishing. He might just be starting. No, he's been on for 16 minutes. He's just starting. Right, cool. We're going to go and raid AMP Services because this guy is absolutely fantastic. Love this dude. Very positive. So when we get in there, I want everyone to be the bastion of positivity that you can be. I want you to throw all the hype in the stream, get all the emotes going on. We will, of course, roll the credits, and as soon as the credits are finished, we'll be in, just in stream, giving him a raid. So make sure you've got all of that hype, like I said. Tuesday night is the next stream. Will be, no, tomorrow night for the Hearthstone Wargaming stream. That's the next stream. So be there at about 6 o'clock. And then Tuesday, live at 9, right here again. Hopefully we'll see you both those nights. Peace out, everyone.